Hello everyone, and welcome to the recap, I guess. I don't know, this is Scott Manley had joined the Giant Bomb West team to do the impossible, which was look at our save from our Kerbal mission. This was a while ago, and I had sent him a save from a while ago. This is before we had started our rescue mission. Scott was kind enough to go join them to see how he would do it. Scott Manley, of course, the best Kerbal player in the universe.
The Wizard of Kerbal space program.
The Wizard of Kerbal. I had watched his stuff for ages and ages and ages. I know it showed.
You were just all of it rubbed off on you, really clearly.
It really just, I absorbed it all. And I had reached out to him when we were doing this, and pie in the sky, if you will, hoped that he would come by, and he did, and it was awesome. And we never watched that video to see what he did. We did our entire rescue mission. I'm sure
it went well, so...
I'm sure it's exactly like ours. Theirs was an hour, so I assume he probably didn't rescue anybody, just probably got into orbit.
Puttered around a little bit in space, you know, just took the lay of the land.
So we're going to watch that and see how it went. I remember asking Scott, I believe I sent over to Drew actually, hey, see if he can do it all in one trip. I really like that.
Do you think he did it?
I think he did it.
I think he could do it.
We've also got Austin in the chat for questions. We'll take questions.
Post-mortem.
Yeah, maybe during, maybe after, probably after. We'll see how it goes during the thing. We haven't watched it, so why don't we just get started? What do you guys say?
I think that sounds great.
So basically we're watching a video.
Yeah, and we're going to talk over it.
Good.
Let's see how this all goes. Let me get the volume up here. Everybody good in the chat? Ready to go?
Seems like it.
All right.
I'm ready to watch me a movie.
All right. I'll get past my intro part that I did.
No, let's watch that.
Nah, that's just weird.
I didn't see this. Wait, you did an intro?
Oh, I just said, hey, let's take it over to Drew.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe we call that a throw in the business.
I threw it to Drew.
That's a good throw.
Yeah.
You should have showed that.
We'll switch over to this. Oh, God.
My fellow Americans,
Hey, Drew.
it seems that rogue space program Project B.E.A.S.T has stranded multiple Kerbals in orbit. This is unacceptable, and as a result, I have chosen to shoulder the burden of rescuing these.
Drew Scanlon,
Great
Space
souls.
Czar.
Yeah.
But I cannot do it alone.
I think he described it as a
Only played a
rogue
few
space
hours
program.
Yep.
After all. So, I have assembled a team here.
Oh, great. We can pause it whenever we want.
Yeah, we can do
Yes,
it.
I will say, I think Brad was out. No, Jeff was like in a meeting.
Yeah.
Brad was like out sick.
Yes.
Dan was probably at a wrestling event.
Almost certainly.
And
Jason was, having a baby.
He was in the control room.
No, I don't think he was.
Maybe
actually.
that was the week he was having a
I
baby.
think Jason was like out. Yeah, and I remember being like, Scott's coming today, and then Drew was like, "Aren't you doing this from here?"
We were recording a Project B.E.A.S.T.
we were recording.
while they were recording this.
And I was like, no, we're not watching this. I'm not coming in through Skype on this. And he was like, oh, nobody's here. And let's continue.
It was to the point
This is
where
like director's commentary.
Apologies
It totally
to Scott
is.
Manley for no one being there to hang out with him.
Apologies to Drew
Yeah.
for another stranded Kerbal by the Project B.E.A.S.T.
There was definitely a whole thing there of just like Drew being like, hey, like I need the names of the mods that you need. And I'm like, I'll let
This
you
is
know
to
when
you,
I
yeah.
can. And I'm telling Drew like, I have no idea. I think it's an astronomer pack. I'll let you know once we're done. We should be done in 30 minutes. And then just like, we are not done. We are not
done.
ready.
We were extremely not done.
Josh Shaw of GameSpot,
Hello, Drew.
Kerbal expert
Finally,
of the San Francisco office.
I've been watching their progress
There's
with
Josh,
what could probably best be described as shame.
who's no longer with GameSpot.
representing
Where is he?
CSI.
Where'd he
Cool.
go?
Yeah.
I can't remember if he went
Space.
to Twitch or
I've played this
UB.
game
One of the two.
more, you could say, than Vinny by probably like 200 hours.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Josh and I, we had emails going back and forth about Kerbal
Why
stuff.
we have enlisted.
And when I told him Scott was coming, he was super excited.
Yeah.
I was like, Scott Manley's coming to your office. He's like, no way.
medical
So here's a little confession from me.
An
I still
explorer.
don't really know that much about who Scott
intrepid
Manley
man.
is or what he does. I know he's an expert at this game. That's kind of it.
Mr.
You'll find out.
Scott Manley. Hello. Scott, I didn't know
got a
you were
great
a World
voice.
War I flying ace also.
I have many talents.
I'm going to try and set up a little picture-in-picture if I
Sounds
can.
good.
Many hats, as it were.
I wear many hats.
Including that one.
Let's see what
good
this
hat.
does.
Manly hats.
To the Giant Bomb Studio.
Happy to be here.
Let's see, I'm going to see what this does. Hold on.
You have a YouTube channel devoted
Okay.
to
That puts us in the screen.
space
Sure.
games.
I like it.
Picture in picture.
Yeah.
Space and science.
And
at
science.
the same time.
We're gonna need both of those to rescue these dumb Kerbals.
Yes.
The other thing they were waiting on from us.
Name, if you don't
it's
mind
Scott
plugging
Manley.
yourself. Okay, great.
I
was-
have very little imagination when it comes to such a, promotional
Wait until
matters.
he takes a
L.E.Y.
breath here.
Manley.
L-E-Y. M-A-N-L-E-Y.
Okay.
We only had one copy of the game. We were literally doing a Kerbal Beast. They needed the same copy. They needed our account
Yeah,
to
shared.
be freed. And so it was literally Drew being like, "Are you guys done the mission yet?"
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, "No, wait, please."
We're
like,
almost finished.
just hold for time. We're almost
Yeah.
finished.
Okay. Let's jump in here. Vinny gave us our save, or he gave us his save.
Fix a little cropping
that
here
we are
while we're
to
going.
use on our PC.
Yeah, you're kind of you're also
Right
on,
on Drew's
you're on
face.
Drew's face right
Hi,
now.
Drew.
You can actually just situate us between the
stand
two.
for
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
It does. It was something
acronym?
like engineering and space team. I forget what the B stood for.
Oh my God.
And then they changed
Baller.
and to aeronautics or something.
Okay. Well, let's
Ballistics,
see what's going on.
engineering,
We've got
and
3
space
spacecraft
team,
in
right?
Orbit. We have Moonshot.
Yeah, sure.
Next,
I'll go with that.
Next Hope with Dudney Kerman.
Are all those capsule icons stranded Kerbals?
I can't tell whether they have fuel or not. We have Bob Kerman.
Great.
They don't.
There's a
Great.
handful who they've gotten back to the planet, but
Make this a little bit bigger.
I think
Also,
they don't know
they
about the
come in
recover
here.
button.
Oh, right. So that was
wow. Oh
that
my
one.
Bill Kerman.
That was before it had actually entered a sun orbit. It was still just kind of floating out into nowhere.
Right.
Oh.
I had forgotten about that.
That's a whole
28
different
minutes
thing.
and 33
Yes.
seconds. We need to come up. Well, basically, if he's
This is all
safe,
so
I can
weird.
get to him in that time. His velocity is 248 meters per second. So I have a cunning plan.
You're gonna try to rescue this guy.
I think I'm going to rest. Well, I think first of all we're going to stop the bleeding. Right. Stop
Okay.
things
What?
from getting
So
worse.
you're jumping in. I've played like maybe an hour of this game
In space, no one can hear you bleed.
like 3 years ago. So I may need a refresher on what you're doing. You jumped into his ship.
Yes, we can actually jump inside his ship.
Whoa!
Yes, look at that. We can see, but
Wait, is Scott
he
Manley
has no
Scottish?
fuel, right in the top right, we got no fuel,
I don't
no
know.
monopropellant.
Could be like, I don't know, Scottish or Northern English, you know?
Somewhere
Okay.
Down there, I guess, there is the planet Kerbal, but he is escaping. And so my cunning plan is that he's moving away from the planet at 258 meters per second, but he has about 550 meters per second of delta V in his spacecraft.
Okay, here's,
That's a smart.
everybody drink anytime somebody says Delta V. That's, yeah,
Okay.
take a drink.
EVA
drink.
pack. So I am going to slow him down. So
Wait.
I'm just going to fire these engines and
So he just jumped
He
out?
just jumped out.
So you're negating the
yeah,
the
I'm going to
velocity
make
of the
sure
craft.
exactly. So we're going
Okay.
to slow him down. The spacecraft is going to fly off into deep space, but because I'm doing this, it'll make it a lot easier
Wait,
to
he just-
capture him.
He's like, I'll just stop him in space.
Hopefully,
Duh.
Yeah, the concern is if
So he
got
doesn't
out
fly
of
off into the
Kerbal
sun.
orbit, then we'd have to rescue him from an orbit around the sun.
Is
yeah, that would
wait,
be more complicated.
I'm sorry, wait, what'd you
This guy
say?
can sit in a spacesuit for a little while and
It'll be more
in a
what?
diaper,
Complicated?
Yeah.
but,
Whoever did that would be
I would have
geniuses.
said impossible. I mean, I don't even know how we're gonna do this. So
I consider
I
this
think we're going to
witchcraft.
do this.
Cheers, you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
We did the impossible.
We did the impossible. You heard it.
Challenge.
Not our
Let's just
words.
take a look at orbit. I think actually we may have put him back inside, but but he's gonna encounter the moon. It's there. We fixed
Whoa.
that. Backwards. That's what I wanted.
what is happening?
That is the orbit changing as I am firing my little rocket motors to slow myself down.
He just jumped out of the ship.
He just jumped out.
Like, just without even saying, like, without hemming and hawing about it whatsoever, just like, no, we're just doing this.
Slow down.
Because, like, I guess the thing is, we've
I was
experienced this
making
now.
A slight mistake
At this
there.
point,
I was not the professional that I was.
he goofed.
What is this? Apophysis height?
Oh, yes.
That is
Apoapsis
the
height.
altitude, the highest altitude this thing reaches.
I can confirm
And
he
we
is
should
Scottish.
now
Okay.
be on a stable orbit, except that we will encounter the moon. If I was being really smart, I could try and put him into a capture orbit that would avoid that, but
God, that's a far
a
away.
lot.
That's a far way away.
I mean, impacting the moon
impacting the moon
to
is
me is more beneficial, I think, than just floating through space.
It takes care of the problem.
But if he passes close to the moon, it's entirely possible that he ends up getting kicked off deep into space again.
Oh, because of the.
So we should say that also.
Yes. So
I
he's
didn't
gonna
send
have
Scott to
close
save. I
encounter
sent it to
with
Drew.
What I'm
So
gonna
Scott
do-
went in
Never seen
cold.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fall
totally.
down and fly down to Periaps, where I'm going to do a little more rocket thrusty stuff, and hopefully put him safely into a captured orbit that doesn't encounter the moon, and then we can go and rescue.
Wait, I'm
So
sorry.
This is Guy. We're just going to solve the problems first. It's so much nicer doing this in Kerbal Space Program 1.05 because they now have a nav ball. Previously, we had to do this by guesswork.
For the
For the
EVA.
EVA stuff, right? That was
little
essential
thing
for
took,
us
like-
at the
Yeah.
end. Was
That
you
took 3 weeks.
being able to use the,
which
the
he
EVA
was
nav
pooping
ball.
inside his suit, right?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, so let's try firing these engines. There, you see?
Oh wow.
We're just through
That jetpack, huh?
Yeah, I've seen
pluck
bits and
them into
pieces of people
space.
saying that the jetpack
yeah.
is
This works.
practically a cheat engine for a lot
Holy
of this
cow.
stuff.
You're able.
And this is just
You've
using
done
the
all this
suit.
just using a suit.
Yeah. So these suits have about 550 meters per second of RCS thrusters.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Exactly ridiculous. So you.
It seems broken.
Actually develop
Like, that seems not right.
Packs, thruster packs, EVA packs for the space shuttle program. Right.
Right.
Famous shot of Bruce McCandless floating in space.
Right.
Turns out that those, as impressive as they were, could only manage 25 meters per
I
second.
mean that's what I was going
these-
off
that's-
of.
You
know,
joke, but it basically
that's-
is, right? In
yeah.
the sense
If
that
you're trying to like go by something and grab it, 25 meters per second. That's
Well,
too fast.
yeah, and so funnily enough,
Yeah.
in Martian, I think the EVA suits are modelled on that. If you listen to the amount that they're talking in terms of their delta V. Okay, so now we've got him rescued.
Okay. Great.
that's not
Rescues.
he's in space
Yeah.
still.
Oh, he's taking the hat off.
Uh-oh. So that means he's getting serious?
Yeah.
It's getting real.
It's like when a wrestler like tears his shirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Or his suit.
Or Stallone
You know, whatever.
turns the hat around.
Rockets.
It's like a switch.
He's
It's
the
like a
Scottish
switch.
Cesaro.
So
Kerbals are.
Kerbal Arc, I believe, was their rescue craft.
Yeah.
The Luna Lander is their current machine.
Oh boy.
There it
Sorry.
is. My dude,
What's wrong with that?
do
Oh,
not,
they discovered
Do you
solar
think they have enough
panels.
solar power?
don't be judgy.
That is.
What? Wait.
That is a real.
Oh yeah.
What
yeah.
is it? What is it?
There's
Beautiful.
no ion thrusters on this or anything, is there?
Really
They're just
beautiful.
like- yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, we got to the goddamn moon with that thing,
In sandbox mode, or you can.
more or less.
I think this is a lost cause.
yeah. That's fair.
No, I think what's more important is saving these pilots first.
Okay.
Which version of Kerbal's Arc was
I
this?
don't
One
even know.
called
What's Kerbal
Moonshot
Arc?
Final. Oh,
Oh wow.
Oh, this one.
Why
Do we ever actually use this one?
I think we
They
launched it
wanted
once.
some room for passengers.
Yes, I
was the
guess they do
thinking.
need room for passengers, but you could just take some people out beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we
That's-
figured that part
There's
out.
a, maybe a Russian space program approach to Kerbal, where you just strap engines on everything.
So that's the
Yeah, I
stock
think
one.
I'm
That's
going to
not.
go with the stock Kerbal
Okay.
X.
Okay.
This is a classic. I mean,
Boring.
would you like me to go and toss out their stuff? And
Yes. Yes,
I
Drew.
don't know.
I would like to see you try to pilot some of their crafts.
Oh well, okay.
But we'll do that
Yeah.
right
Good
now.
job, Drew.
Just
So that's a video producer right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a man who knows what the people want.
stuff, but
Maybe not this
I
one though.
need to adjust this upper stage a bit.
Vinny did send me some notes. Let me see if I can.
He's sending us notes already. Okay. Yeah. This needs.
Vinny, do you see that Scott has a 15-minute
this
follow-up
needs is
video
upper
to this?
stage.
On
I heard.
This is kind of backwards here. Okay, let's stick that on.
oh,
He's got a good idea with having these RCS thrusters and all that, but I think
Oh yeah, you'd want that on the.
I want that on the pod, right? So the pod
Right.
can fly around. But I think what I'm also going to do is just straight up add a little stage in there that will give me a main rocket engine to maneuver around with.
This is kind of what we did in the end with ours. Remember? Like we added that stage in between.
it was the
I just don't know
Xenon
if this
stage,
would
but yeah.
survive re-entry. Have you tried re-entry with this?
I've never flown that cockpit before.
I do not know whether this
I don't know. I say again, I don't know that we ever actually did much
We
with this.
launched it once.
We changed it to the capsule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We said it was way too heavy.
Put a heat
I
shield
think.
on it, but
That one, I do remember that one having weight issues.
Depends how many you're trying to rescue, I guess. Because you might not need such a large.
I mean, I
command
kind of
pod.
like this lower stage here, right? Because
Yeah.
this has just lots of thrust.
Sure
Yes.
does.
Sanity.
Yes.
And I totally vibe with that.
Okay. So it's not a complete wash.
It's not a complete wash. no.
Okay.
Okay.
See, Vinny,
What we should do.
See, yeah.
it's not a complete wash.
We
You are completely useless at this.
we
Come on.
figured out that was. This is what we wound up doing. We figured out that.
Yeah, we knew.
It's in here somewhere. It magically appears and is invisible.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
no.
oh no! I ruined the whole thing.
Oh darn.
Control Z. Oh wow, that.
See, I didn't even know there was a control
so
set.
much for my.
I didn't know that.
Z, Control Z, because we're in America.
Don't give him the benefit. He knows the secret cheat shortcuts.
One more try.
Control Z. I'm gonna write that
Yeah,
down.
you're right. I'll go get you some post-it.
Z-E-D.
Well, I mean, other than being hugely popular and successful, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, as a 1.0 release.
Oh, it's been pretty. Although the 1.0 release was a little flaky.
Okay.
But 1.01 immediately fixed a bunch of things, and then 1.02 broke things.
Oh, he's gonna add that stage. I was gonna say he just went back to.
So 1.05 is an interim
That's
release.
a parachute, right?
Yes.
Because they were trying to port everything to Unity 5.
Is that the good parachute?
I think that is.
I
the
think
good
that was,
version.
yeah.
Basically gets.
So in the end, we should have added drogue chutes on top of
it
the,
turned out
or
that
beside
it was taking
the ones that we had.
That's what some folks were saying if we were gonna come in that hot.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay.
So that was pretty.
People in the chat are debating Z versus Z. I'm going to come out and say, as much as I am used to and comfortable with
yeah.
Z, I think Z sounds cooler.
Z is cool.
I can't tell if Z sounds cooler because we don't use it though.
As someone who lived in Canada, man, Z sounds cool.
It's just
It just sounds
coolest,
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used it for years up there, and I still love it.
Here as well, that will give us power if necessary. And then.
I wonder what like the. I don't know if you'd call that the etymology, but like how that wound up. Like, was it just too confusing, like Z and E? Like you're just like, no, it's Z. Is it like a military thing? Like,
No,
or
I
is
bet
like,
Z predates Z.
you do.
And then once we
Yeah,
get
based
it,
just on
we
where
can
it's used in Commonwealth
bring
countries.
it back. Safely.
Sorry, we got distracted.
Yeah, sorry. Why, wait.
Welcome to
He's
us.
putting stuff on
I
there.
kind of want to just rewind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a hair.
Sorry.
Crew, we can
Why did he put
put
that on?
body in here. Maybe in here, just up here. Put a little probe body in and have the probe do all the flying. And then once we get any crew, we
The
can
probe?
Oh, he's
bring it back.
yeah, he's doing an unmanned
Excuse-
vessel.
Just ditch all the crew completely.
I didn't even.
You can do that?
Yeah, oh yeah. Remember we said that it was against the spirit of the.
We did say that.
Man vessel.
You have to risk something.
You have to risk something.
Well, then this video is a total wash because he did not do this in the spirit of our design.
you know,
True.
it's good because I want to see a totally different map.
I like to enjoy Kerbal from a distance.
It's Zeta. That's
Yes,
where
a
Z
safe
comes from.
distance.
Drew understands.
Minimum safe distance.
Again, Drew's on it.
Did
Yep.
you see the SpaceX launch last week?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, did you see the rocket landing
Pretty fantastic video.
and then falling over?
Oh no.
Ever so slowly.
Oh no.
The amazing thing is that rocket is the size of a 10-story building.
Really?
So what is that?
That in the scale.
Sorry, what is that? A
Do not
fuel
get that in
stage on
scale.
there?
When it falls over,
No
people
idea what
think
that is.
that
Do you want to
it's
go back
falling
further and
over.
see what he's doing?
No, that's real speed.
Can you send me in the chat and just tell me what's the stage he
The-
put the RCS thrusters on? What is that thing?
It's all like yellow and gray
Yeah,
one.
Delta V.
Oh, hey,
I think
Scott's
we
in
might
chat.
actually have trouble
Oh, nice.
getting everyone on this one.
Scott, what the
what's
hell are you
that?
doing?
Let me see what we've got in terms of Delta V. 8 kilometers per second.
You work with what you got.
Yeah, well, I think maybe if I extend this, right, we'll just do a double length version. There, that should give me plenty of room, and we'll have
What was it? Oh, shoot.
RCS if necessary.
Oh, it's an RCS fuel
Yeah.
tank. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a nice
Trying
sizable
to
RCS tank.
create
Yeah.
a rocket that will handle everything we need to. Oh, that's an ASAS. You know what? We don't need an ASAS in there. I think I was.
I had an Asus once.
You did?
It's alright. I think Alienware's a little bit better.
I kind of did terrible on my Asus's. That's why I had to go to a state school.
We'll add some extra mass here. It will reduce our delta V on that stage, and then
Drink.
That's our decoupler.
That's right. Drink every time in Delta V. That looks like our last ship with the wobbly wobbly. I wonder if he's gonna put struts on
I
it.
don't need these.
What, he just took off the
Didn't
monos?
exhaust.
Okay, yeah, because he put them up at the top.
Yeah.
You don't need them down
Is
there.
actually replace these with Werner engines, which are a little.
Did we use those?
No, we talked about it a couple
I
times.
thought we did
didn't
at some point and just ripped them right off.
Add some struts.
Yeah, struts.
Now I think about it, let's add some aerodynamics.
Sure.
Well,
We didn't have any of those.
I should have Drew send me the save
That
file.
decoupler's.
that's a very good point.
Are the arrows supposed to point out?
I think maybe
Oh,
I
okay.
should just do that, and then this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the aerodynamics on here just to help.
Aesthetic.
This is starting to look a little bit more like our final vessel.
This is going to look.
I believe you. Like, I want to give you that.
But I also feel like
because-
maybe he would deal with the wobble issue in a
Well,
way.
he just did.
That-
Yeah.
That's so good.
Worry about that. Okay, and
Maybe a surplus of fins there.
I feel like he's missing a strut or two, but it's fine.
This is like watching Bob Ross work.
I know.
Extra
He's
struts.
just doing
Smart.
things, and he's just doing it so naturally and so comfortably that it's making me angry.
Why sliding the
the
fins
reason
down.
is you want your control surfaces to be further back during launches because it's the old rule that the center of drag has to be behind the center of mass. So I'm going to call this Kerbal arc.
Fixed.
Prove that.
It's going to go for the rescue or something, right?
Archangel?
Okay.
Archangel.
Archangel.
That's good.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that's good.
I think let's just check our staging on this.
I'm just gonna be
These
this
rockets
entire stream. I'm just gonna be incredibly dismissive of everything he's doing. It's like, yeah, well, we did it better.
Do another thing.
I still think it
reason.
looks cool.
We could do something called asparagus staging.
Listen, we know all
asparagus
about
staging is-
asparagus
Wait,
staging.
isn't it already staged?
Fire up the middle.
Or did we not? Did we not do
undid
it for this?
because the chat insisted that it was a waste of our
So the
time.
idea is
Not the
that
chat, but
extra
our comments.
engine burning during launch. I'm not going to do full asparagus.
He's not going the full asparagus.
Never go
Okay.
full asparagus
Nice.
if you don't
There you
have
go.
to.
Okay.
What we're just gonna
Great
do is make sure
minds.
that middle engine fires and it drains fuel from the exterior. And so that gives us extra thrust during ascent. So we're going to ditch these, and that should not fire until later. Okay. Going to fire, and then these will be burning for a little while. That engine should fire in this stage. And then we've got two decouplers here.
I don't know if you guys realize how excited I am to watch.
Oh, I
this.
can see it in your face.
I've been waiting.
glowing.
I'm excited too.
Like, this
Especially
is-
after people started accusing us of having watched it. It was like, no, I have zero willpower as a human being, but I have held out on this thing.
We would
Like
have done
Scott
so
is
much,
basically like my Kerbal hero.
we would have
And
done so much better. Watch this.
We'll talk about that. There's a
Is he your
hilariously
PewDiePie?
bad
No,
stowaway
definitely not.
movie that was made
PewDiePie is your PewDiePie.
I- Nobody can replace my PewDiePie.
PewDiePie is the PewDiePie of the Zulus.
Does he?
Call
Might be
back.
the one that.
Oh, he's got fuel. Wait.
No, it doesn't have oxidizer.
Oh, okay.
That's where we
He
fucked
doesn't
up on
have
that
a
one.
prop. Okay, well, that's fine.
Thanks,
I'll
Josh, for ratting us out.
just target this guy because I want to make sure that we can bring him back. Yeah, there's a 70s movie called Stowaway to the Moon, which is like a made-for-TV
Really?
movie.
What's that about?
And it's a kid stows away in an Apollo moon rocket. It's so awful and hilarious, but
They must have
Then we
I
must have
keep
used
switching
that.
to the wrong
The
one.
shuttle.
That sounds like
Just
some
landed.
Roger
Well, I think
Corman
we did
shit.
an up and down on it.
They made a similar movie called Space Camp
yes,
in the
that is just
80s
ridiculous.
or early 90s.
Drew,
the
go
80s.
to space. That's a space camp.
Arc
There's a robot that sent him to space.
Okay, this is where it gets.
Ever tell you guys about the time I went to space camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
But you didn't go. There's like a something
There's a
happened.
hurricane, so I
Yeah.
had to get my space mission. I only got my
Switch to this one.
mission control mission.
Ah.
I might have to just go back. Yeah. Okay. Go back to the space center and select this damn thing on the pad.
Selecting
Even he
stuff
had-
is a pain in the butt. Yeah.
Yep.
It's for reasons like this that I think Kerbal is a little overwhelming for people. It's like I just loaded up these saves and had to like come and get you, Josh, and be like, is everything here? I don't know where everything is.
All right, I want to watch this take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Don't worry.
Because I assume he's going to try and match orbits out of the gate.
So wait, Moonshot Next Hope. That's the one we're going to go after first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one we went after
Here.
first.
Wait a second. No, we're
We left a lot
Yeah.
of junk.
right.
I feel like before we
here,
actually
so
started
gotta
doing
wait
that, we
for
did
this
clean
thing.
some of that
Yeah,
stuff up.
We recovered some
Target
stuff.
it. Set as target. And then what I'm going to do is view the Earth or the planet from this angle and then accelerate time forwards. The idea is that we want to be exactly under that when we launch.
I think we tried that
Get into
once.
the correct orbit. And unfortunately, we have no electric charge, but that's fine because as soon as we fire these engines, okay, we ran out of electric charge.
Oh, and he can't fire it.
That's because
He was time warping with a probe, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
So
it's because we don't have a launch clamp.
we could have put a launch clamp on that, but that's fine. We'll just build another one and stick it on the pad. These things happen. Stranger things have happened in
Oh, was it because
Stranger things have happened during this series,
for
man.
the most bizarre, or lost for the most bizarre.
Sorry, was it because he had SAS on that was probably stabilizing the ship?
I think so, yeah.
maybe.
It was a
So you had no
proton
launch clamp
rocket,
going.
which was lost because one of the sensors, the accelerometers, to detect whether it was accelerating, was installed upside down. So they thought they were going down when they were in fact going up, and they tried to turn around, and if you flip a rocket upside down, you will not go to space today.
See, Scott remembers to take his Kerbals out. Always take your Kerbals out before you...
Well,
Kill them?
There's that
Yeah.
widely publicized one about the Mars lander
Yes,
who was converting metric to imperial wrong.
that's right. They
Does the launch clamps provide infinite?
They had their
Oh, they must
energy?
feed. Okay.
feet per second, and
Thanks,
they
chat.
converted it to a burn in meters per second. So I'm going to have to try to fire my rockets off towards this pink thing, roughly. That's where I'm going to go.
Okay,
So let's see how this
see it.
flies. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
God, I'm ready.
Go! Oh, not so bad. Okay. Yes, we're just going to watch these things go down, and I'm immediately going to start turning. Oh, wow, this is super stable.
Like, I'm going to say he probably made some modifications, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Could go wrong. Yeah. So I'm just going to.
Yeah, stability is not what I would accuse our ship of having.
I'm manually flying this. There's no autopilot or anything. The only thing I'm doing is getting stability control here. I'm going to bring up my orbital and my surface.
He's using that camera angle, too.
These numbers will let.
Well, I bet he's
feel
just flying by the nav ball.
Yeah, I feel like there's a
Okay,
point
this
at
thing
which
might
if you're
actually
super good at this
tear itself
game,
apart. It's
you
really
would do it from inside those
Get some
ships.
shimming,
Yeah.
yes. We've got a precession on the long axis. So you guys like The Martian?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fabulous movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was good.
that is
Best
great.
comedy of the year. But it was. I mean, it made a lot.
Oh, yeah,
of
this
people
came out around the
smile
Golden
and
Globes,
feel
I
good
think.
about things like space.
Yeah, science is fun.
Science is fun. Oh, so we're draining fuel from all tanks. That's fine.
I thought that was the point.
Oh yeah, heating up.
Isn't it the asparagus, the partial
I
asparagus?
realized that I haven't figured out what altitude
Oh,
I
damn.
want to be dropping out. It's okay. This is perfectly normal.
Are you just gonna blow by him?
What?
Are you just gonna blow by?
No, we're just. I'm gonna stop the engines for now.
Okay.
We're floating into space, and what I need to do now is fire these engines back up again. We're just gonna try to align these things.
It's one of those things where like it feels like he's playing by feel, just because he
I'm
knows
looking at
it
is this
so well that he
descent
doesn't need to talk through every
Probably a
step.
confidence that he
Orbits
could
across.
recover from a
Yeah,
mistake.
totally.
Right, and we want these things to cross somewhere nearby, somewhere where I can control the burn and get us exactly.
Okay, so they're not intersecting yet.
They're not intersecting. I'm coming in from below. He's around there, so what we'll do is get onto the same orbit, and then we'll just try and interact. We'll try and like.
Spin around.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll do a couple of orbits to synchronize ourselves and then get ourselves lined up. So now we're getting close. And that's us pretty close. So we've crossed that orbit.
Nice.
He's going to come around. I'm going to burn into this orbit, and then...
When do you want to speed up and when do you want to slow down to like intersect?
Good question.
The important
This is
questions.
something that confuses a lot of pilots. If you are in front of somebody in space, like if you're just behind somebody in space and you want to catch up on them, you actually have to fire rockets away from them.
Away from them?
Yes, because what will happen is that will put you into a lower orbit, and then you will move faster than them and then catch up.
It's fun watching
this
Drew make
is
the same
like-
face as I did as I was
Yeah.
starting to figure some of this stuff out.
Gemini 4. Supposed to.
That's how that works.
Weird.
So the booster was behind them, so they turned their spacecraft towards them, fired the engines for a couple of feet per second, and then they began to move towards it. But as they moved around the orbit, they began to move away from it, and they thought, "Wait, this is weird." So they corrected and they burned again, and they kept this up. And for a couple of orbits, they were just going around in circles, basically.
That's real life.
Crew of
Yes.
Gemini 4.
Yes.
That's just true.
We just replicated that
NASA
basically
astronaut's
exactly.
confused about this as well. Wow. It was Buzz Aldrin that wrote the book on Rendezvous. They actually nicknamed him Dr. Rendezvous.
Nice.
That's an okay nickname. That's okay.
Yeah.
Badass, space hero was like actually a pretty awesome academic that knew his science, knew his math.
Also, his name was Buzz.
Right.
Pretty good.
Right, you don't need Dr. Rendezvous when your name is Buzz.
Dr. Rendezvous was his name when he went to a different wrestling promotion. He didn't own the name Buzz
Right,
anymore.
that's just WWE
Right.
from WCW.
Right. Yeah.
I met him once.
You did?
Yeah, on the USS Hornet.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's an awesome place. I like the Hornet. It's a great place
Put
to
those
go.
solar panels out.
Wow, those are tiny. So who needs those little solar plant panels?
Have you done the
He does, apparently.
We could have used those.
Hornet, like the
Sure.
super secret flashlight tour?
Yeah, well, not flashlights. We just went to like.
Oh no, like you can get down into the engine rooms, like into the shaft, the turbine shaft room. Okay, there, ditch these.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's us. Now here's the thing.
Why is it spinning like that?
That's
Beautiful.
super cool.
That is beautiful. Okay, so we just gotta fire these engines a little faster. Uh-oh, we get a bit of a shimmy picking up here.
I know that shimmy. I know that
A little
shake.
wiggly.
I know it
Wiggle
intimately.
Just a little bit, but that's fine. Wow, we're gonna have more than enough fuel here. This is awesome.
Well, boy, I wish we could ever say that.
Enough fuel. I have no idea. If
We came back with some extra fuel.
Well, no, well, yeah, we burned it. We
You
burned
mean
that
all
tank
that
up.
xenon
Apparently,
fuel?
we shouldn't have done that though.
pretty close to my burn, and then
Because it came in
the
two
engines.
vertical.
So
vertical.
you just
Yeah, well, you know what? We did it. So
Yeah.
it's canon now.
So what's going to happen is that this guy's behind me, right? And I'm going to go up and over, and because my orbit is higher and longer, he will catch up on me, and then we're going to meet here in theory.
Wait, shouldn't he have to do that like 17 more times in order to finally get it together?
This, and these little markers are going to show us how close we are. So I'm just going to actually just nuke this. See this? When I mouse over it, it's going to tell me, look, the separation is decreasing, 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 decreasing.
It feels like everything he's doing is just more stable in general.
I know.
It's almost like he knows what the outcome will be before he tries it.
He's gonna get this on the
That's
first
pretty
pass,
good.
isn't he?
Probably.
I think he's going to get all of them on the first pass.
It's practically zero in space.
And I'm going to be real
That's
mad
great.
about
We're
it.
going to zip around.
Yeah, the problem that the other guys were having was they got close, but they weren't going the same direction.
Josh!
So they passed really close, but at an extremely high speed.
That was a really good
They
moment.
did it about as fast as possible. I saw that particular. I actually posted that particular clip to my Twitter.
A little embarrassed.
The fact that he's not dragging us is what's making this
And I
okay.
guess somebody's noticed it. Because I get asked, do you want to come and help? Okay, so we're now in target mode here, which means if we look, that's them down there. So I got to flip this whole spacecraft around. You know what? I'm going to disable my torque because I don't have enough battery power. That was a stupid mistake on my part.
Wait, what did he
Without
say?
torque,
He didn't have a lot
I
of,
have some
yeah.
trouble rendezvousing. If the electric charge goes to zero, I lose control of this spacecraft, and so we'll have to do something.
So the stabilizer thing, I think he disabled.
Right.
The other thing that people have told us, which I would put in my next design, is
Scott,
put
you
your
seem to know a lot about this stuff. Have you
RCS
played a lot
at
of
the
Kerbal
tips,
or-
Yeah.
and put
Well,
your
I,
stabilizer, your torque in the
studied
middle.
astronomy during my degree, basically.
There you go.
And that was curiously just enough to make me an expert on how to orbit things.
I would hope so.
So in the early days of Kerbal Space Program, it was posted to the Something Awful forums, and I saw people talking about it and discussing it, and there was people saying, "Oh, I think
Scott Manley confirmed something awful.
He's a goon.
He's a goon.
Wow,
He's a
that
goon.
sounds like a challenge." So I got to
What if
orbit.
he plays Eve?
Made a
What if he's
video.
part of
and
the
started
Imperium,
trying to use my-
formerly
He's got a bunch of
Goose
other game videos on his site.
Yeah.
You know, actually explain some rocket science.
And how do you find that this game is at being accurate with orbital mechanics and that kind of
It's
stuff?
accurate at the right things,
Okay.
and it glosses over the right things, right? So there's enough stuff there. So we're down to 700 meters. Look at that. And we should be getting some electric charge back. Yeah, you see, we're back up to 100% electric charge.
Oh, because of the sun?
Yeah, because we have little solar panels. I was smart enough to put solar panels on there.
Nice.
Solar panels are...
Was that shade?
nice
Was he throwing shade?
No, because we hadn't done it yet.
I'm just going to get...
I think we had them on the build.
I thought we did.
But we didn't do the thing of not including them on that Xenon engine until this last episode. So
40 meters per second. So I'm just going to slow this thing down a little more. So down here, what the nav ball is showing is we're in target mode, and that means that we can see the pink marker shows me where they are, and this green marker here is what velocity, our velocity vector. So we're going to go past it. So what I'm going to do is kind of slow down and push my velocity vector closer to them so that we will get really close. And then we'll just slow down alongside them, and then he can EVA over.
That definitely took us
hand.
threw us for a loop. I feel like
his
on the
job will
second
not
one
be
where
done
we
because
forgot
we have
if it's
others to
our
rescue.
velocity vector or the target's velocity vector.
Right.
We'll have all three in our spacecraft.
right.
And not three people stranded in one place.
Well, at least they'll be together.
Yes, at least
I'm surprised you didn't take my
this time.
amazing
Because, that's one thing the Martians
struts off that we never used.
The handholds.
The handholds that we never used.
No, we did. Did we never eventually take
We
those
took
off?
them off, I think.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
far away from everyone else.
With just disco.
Yeah, with just disco. I have to say, I thought the soundtrack was great.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was the best use of disco music in a long time.
It's pretty close.
My wife, goes to like aerobics classes and stuff, and she was saying, I've noticed they're playing a lot of disco these days. It was like,
It just wraps back around.
I wonder. I wonder if that's something to do. Okay, so we can just switch to this guy.
He's just gonna do it.
And
isn't he?
actually, now I've realized,
man.
I haven't even looked at this thing. Can this guy EVA? Oh, you can.
Oh, do you think we'd like lock
That
him
would be
in?
really harsh
Oh
to
yeah.
find out.
Look at that!
Just right there. And he's just gonna EVA this thing. It's just gonna be, he's gonna fucking rail slide down there like it's no biggie.
Knock stuff off, or ram him maybe to deorbit him. There he goes.
He did turn his
That way
headlamps
you're
on.
rescued. Bad
Yes.
news is you have to rescue everyone else
your
before
job
you can
is
come
not
home.
done. I think we're doing pretty good in terms of.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, we get plenty of delta V in this, left in this thing.
Delta V drink.
Okay.
I'm empty.
Okay.
Just
Exit is
make the act of
Okay,
drinking.
right.
Oh yeah, he just goes.
Hope he can get in. The panel is rather.
He's a
close.
certified jet jockey.
I feel like I got a little more confident with the EVA. As
Yeah,
we
the third time you were much more comfortable.
So much of it is practice.
I'm bored. Yes.
Wow, man, that's one. What was that? What's the time on that? Like
so
20 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
It was.
That took us like 3 episodes.
Well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this guy next because he's further out, but there's a complicated technical reason for why I think I want to go for him next.
Okay.
This is the guy who we saved from going out into a
What I
sun
need to
orbit,
do
right?
is figure out where.
Yes, he's the
That's
one
what
that they
he wants
just
to
decided
What's
to
gonna
EVA.
take most of my fuel is
Yeah, you can
adjusting,
tell it's not even a capsule icon, it's
Yeah.
just a...
adjusting what's called the inclination. And so if I go
Did we
for
not
this
have an
guy
issue
first,
where we
it'll
weren't
have
able to
easier
see
adjust the
EVA'd Kerbals as an orbit ring?
We never really tried. We never got one far enough away from a capsule
From a
icon.
capsule. That's
Yeah,
right.
that might have been what it was.
I did it again!
Are you sure you've played this before?
What?
What did
in
he
God's
do?
name?
I think he was trying to set it as target.
Oh,
so
and
switched to-
he switched to it.
Kerbal's Arcade. And it's only showing me the next hope. Okay, I'll just switch to it and then switch to it.
I think that's what he was doing.
Switch to it. Okay. Once again, back with the incredible.
The Primedible.
Set as target. So yeah, we
So
want.
he's going to go after him because of the inclination?
I believe that's what he said.
Boost about.
Yeah.
Right. Oh no, wait.
Maybe there's a way for him to quickly adjust his...
I
Or
want-
cheaply adjust
boost
that, the inclination that
unfortunately.
way or something?
Trying to figure out the
Oh,
best place to
yes,
fire
because
him.
it's closer in inclination to that
I
orbit.
can-
Than the
Okay,
other one,
yeah.
right.
intersect with him, but it seems that this is in the worst possible place. So I'm going to fire my engine here in about the next 8 minutes. That'll bring us out. There's not really any easy way for me to do this.
Gotta burn.
Beginning to pick up like what all this interface means.
Yeah, you know what? I think I was going to go for him, but I'm just going to go for these guys.
Okay.
That's going to be a big
It's going
burn.
to mean a bigger, harsher burn, but I don't think there's anything we can do about it. So this is the... Yeah, you've put both of the burns at exactly the wrong places. Well, never mind.
That was intentional. I was trying to make
Yeah,
it
we
really
did that
hard.
for him.
We're basically Mario
You see
Maker.
those
We built our Mario, our Kerbal Maker level.
We want to see what you've
So he's
got.
kind of
Wait until he gets to the
notes
music
saying, like,
note
burn
blocks.
forward or burn backwards.
Yeah.
The purple
Doable.
triangles
#doable.
are to change your inclination, but doing that it's the hardest part of this because it costs so much fuel.
It's extremely costly.
Oh, that's to like, if you've got an orbit like this, inclination is...
Yeah. And it's when they tried to do that rendezvous, it was what was the absolute worst thing, is one was vertical and one was horizontal.
So it's just... Wow, okay.
Okay. So, and the other trick is that when you do want to make an inclination change, the most efficient way to do it is as far away from the central body as possible. So, in some cases, it's actually more efficient to go into a way high orbit and then make your inclination change and then come back down. But I think we can get away with this one, so we're going to go for it. Okay, we're 1 minute 33 to the next burn. We're lined up. And I can turn on... I'll turn this back on in a second.
Now that he has a Kerbal, he probably doesn't need the drone power
Speed
on
up.
anymore, huh?
Toggle the torque and 100% thrust.
Or do you just
Yeah,
so
I
use
bet.
it?
I have no idea. I've never used that stuff, so I don't know how much
Scheduling
electricity.
a burn at a point, like that doesn't happen automatically.
Right.
Time comes up and you say, oh, this is when I've scheduled this.
And then
Exactly. So what we're trying, we still have to fly it manually. What we're doing in the map is we're just guessing what would happen. We're saying, what would happen if I fired the engine now, or at this point, and it would predict your orbit forward, and so you can mess around with that without wasting all your fuel. And the idea is it can let you experiment with it without, dooming your crew to an eternally running out of fuel or whatever, right? Okay, so we've got this. So the next thing I need to do is make the inclination correction. We'll do that there.
That's gonna be such a big burn.
We're going to match orbits.
It's because I want you to grab the controller or like the mouse and like show me how much delta V he has left on each stage and stuff.
Manageable for normal human beings.
I can't read it.
Yeah, that's really the...
Not that you're normal.
Looks like it's about
800, or is that my
you have
wrong?
training in this regard.
Well, no, two.
I don't know if
285?
you saw, I did fly this with I've seen several people fly with real astronauts in this game, and some of them get it, and some of them don't. Really? I think that it's a great tool, though.
I imagine it has a lot to do
just
with just your
always
ability
happy
to
to
grasp
hear
these
when
kinds of
somebody's
interfaces
taking
more
the
than it has to do with
decided to go and study physics because they
the
played
space knowledge itself.
Right, because it's still a video
There
game.
are
Yeah.
people that have decided to go
Like, not to
college
bring this back
and
to
learn
yet
something.
another Rock Band reference, but I know plenty of drummers who just cannot play that game because the interface just makes no sense to them.
Best thing about it. For
This
instance,
isn't drumming.
Like, I'm talking about drummers that are actually trying to play their own songs in that game.
it certainly has a learning curve which challenges many. Okay, so it's a 442 meter per second burn. We have 2 kilometers per second in delta V. We are going to be all right. How are we doing on time, by the way?
Let's check.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You've barely covered a third of one of our episodes. You're fine.
Just adjust
Oh, so
this.
I mean, I think Scott came on like his lunch break.
figure out the
I'm
best.
so thankful that he just popped in to like take his lunch break to
Hey,
go.
let's save some Kerbal, save some lives.
Yeah,
I'm not angry. I'm not angry.
that it took him a lunch break and us.
No, I'm in no way frustrated,
6 weeks.
enraged,
Definitely
seething
like
over
how
that.
to play this game.
Not even a little bit.
Because the learning curve's pretty extreme, but it's the most satisfying game once you actually get it, because you've learned something real.
Yeah.
Like people say Dark Souls and Bloodborne are challenging, but the thing you learn there is like how to beat the Dark Souls boss.
Right.
Here you learn orbital mechanics.
You can kind of apply that knowledge to like
It'd be really weird if it were reversed.
history when you're learning about.
I beat Dark Souls. I learned
I
orbital.
learned some really
But I
important
played
stuff.
Kerbal, but I learned how to beat a Dark Souls boss.
Understanding the problem in Kerbal Space
I'm gonna be honest though, I'm not convinced I actually learned that much about orbital mechanics. I know more than I did.
For me as well.
Right.
But
You
if you
learned
were
what
to,
delta V means.
yeah, if you were to ask me to try and recreate even the foolhardy things that we did, I don't think I
a lot of
could.
this game.
It can be if you are trying to match orbits that have been placed there by somebody that didn't really know what they were doing.
What?
I'm not implying that.
What?
I mean, you can spend a lot of time mucking around like that.
That's
I'm just
we were
gonna-
just,
I mean, that's all true.
stretching our legs.
We did not know what we were doing.
Correction here.
This is gonna end with us challenging
That's what I'm gonna do.
Scott Manley to a match at Paximania,
I
right?
think we
Like
would-
that's how this is going. We're
Yes.
gonna create spaceships that
Put
fight
my
in space.
spacecraft about as
Yes.
far
What would Scott's wrestling
don't-
wrestling avatar be?
Max Moon.
Max Moon is not.
That's an actual wrestler.
But,
So
okay, but how
you
about
can't
Max
have that.
MUN?
Yeah.
There you go.
The thing is, there's an advantage to actually combining your maneuvers into one.
Fuel advantage?
There's a fuel advantage, basically, yeah. So I think just need to do that.
You know the thing we never figured out, which
That's we'll just make the inclination.
I hope Scott
correction.
shows, I don't know if he will, is successive
Then we'll
maneuvers
go and try
and
to
total
chase
delta
this
V
thing.
cost.
Someone
Okay, so we
mentioned
get
that
2.5
either there's a way to
hours,
do
so
it
I
or there's
can
a
actually
mod that
line
lets
up
you
with this
do it.
maneuver
Okay.
beforehand. It's telling me that it'll take 22 seconds to perform the burn, and that should still leave us with plenty of fuel.
And we still have another stage.
And we still have another stage with tons of fuel and reaction control thrusters and everything.
He's got.
We're going to go way, way, way out.
So where are you seeing your...
Yeah, he's got a lot of fuel. 4.1.
It's down in the bottom.
Oh yeah, his fuel
to
issue
the
is
right of the
non-existent.
nav ball in the bottom, it says estimated burn 21 seconds.
Oh, got it,
Right,
okay.
so that's telling me, and the maneuver is the little blue icon on the nav ball here. So that's where you're supposed to aim your spacecraft and make that burn. Oh, and I've overshot!
Oh no.
Oh, you see, I should have used warp 2. Doesn't matter. I'll fix this thing.
One of those
No
things-
biggie.
Yeah.
I overshot just a touch. So we'll just...
Some people overshoot and they adjust. Some people overshoot and they
right?
crash the planet and the game.
most accurate landing of the Mercury program was...
Don't forget
done
that the
by-
game
Some
crashed.
Yeah,
people.
the game crash.
No one we
well.
know.
I wanted to show off that the pilots could be just as good as the computers.
Wow.
So I've kind of messed this up just a little. But that's fine. So we're now immediately going to fire this rocket and see... I guess I'll line up there.
Neil Armstrong's landing was...
This is some Babe Ruth pointing
Yeah,
at the
Neil
fucking
Armstrong,
direction his home run's gonna go in.
Basically, the
type
computer
shit.
was bringing them down, and it was supposed to be fully automated. You know, that was the original design, but the pilots had the option to take over, not 100% manual, but they could override the computer and say, don't land here. And so Neil Armstrong noticed they were coming down in the middle of a boulder field, and he thought that it would be a good idea not to do that. Yeah.
I love that Scott also has all of this
I did
actual
that, and then
knowledge.
they
Yeah, of like the
fly
history
a long
of
Yeah.
way, and
aerodynamics.
there's a famous quote just after landing from ground control where they say they had like 20 seconds of fuel left before they had to abort. And mission control comes back and says, you got a bunch of guys about to turn blue here. Like, it's just, you know, fantastic. And it's so true. The guys in mission control are often overlooked, but those guys in mission control were, you know, pretty cool as well. They were really good at solving problems and fixing things.
No, I saw Armageddon. I know how important mission control is.
When something's happened, that there was a solution at
Billy Bob Thornton, man.
And
He's the
another
glue that
great
kept that whole thing
example
together.
During Apollo 12, when the spacecraft got hit by lightning during ascent, and all their power went out. Everything was red light.
Wow.
And there was like...
is there anything...
The astronauts are just like cool as ice. They're just reading out saying...
Because they were passed out.
Their instrumentation, blah, blah, blah.
That's the most terrifying thing that could possibly happen.
This
Well,
voice comes over and it's like, try switching SCE to aux. And they're like, what the hell is that?
like slightly more terrifying would be like hit by lightning and then see like Odin in the sky being like, "You shall not pass." Wow. Houston,
So that saved the mission.
tell Bill he was right. There is a
Afterwards,
giant space god.
Yeah.
It came out that some of the guys in mission control, or after the accident, they wanted to check everything because the spacecraft had been hit by lightning. They were concerned that the spacecraft being hit by lightning might have broken a few things. So they obviously came up with a checklist to make sure everything was reset, but they didn't tell the astronauts that they thought that the parachute pyros might have been damaged by the lightning. And so the parachute wouldn't open. They had no way to test this, and they figured out that they might as well let the guys go to the moon anyway.
That's the move.
It was going to
if you
fail.
turn
It would
around.
either work or fail.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so...
No way of knowing.
And no way to repair it if it was broken.
50-50 chance it's going to work or it's not.
But yeah, so they,
I mean, at that point, if
some
you're already
guys
in
on the
space
ground
and you
had
think a
this
thing
whole
is
notion,
broken,
well, we're going to the moon.
you might as well go to the moon,
There's a pretty
right?
good chance that when they come back, they're going to die. Okay, let's... I think this is going to be my fastest... So I'll be 275. Oh, crap. These things flickering is really kind of annoying because I
Yeah.
can't tell. Okay. I think
No
that
shit.
would be my best option.
Yeah. So there's a new. They're working on a
30
big
minutes.
update for Kerbal.
That's what I heard.
Up again.
New Unity engine. I forget what version it is.
Now of your-
1.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get these things
5
synchronized.
maybe?
So again, I'm boosting this up into a higher orbit.
Yeah,
This is
1.4.
not the way they do this in real life. What they normally do is they target their initial burn a little more accurately. They figure this thing out, and they just kind of come to a stop next to the space station. So I can't do that because I'm not using computers. I'm just guessing my way through this. But we get a 1 minute or 1 second burn 30 minutes from now.
So I don't know if that'll fix a lot of this
Again,
stuff, but
I'm
it'll
using
be on
time
a
acceleration,
new
obviously.
Unity
That'd be
engine.
nice.
And it
Yeah.
should be 64-bit,
30
which would be
minutes.
nice.
It's
Oh, that'll be
1.1
nice.
Unity 5.
Okay.
Okay.
But we could.
Thanks, chat.
Out very soon,
Anything else you
apparently.
ever
Yeah.
wants to know about spaceships?
We'll break all the mods.
I want to know what your personal Kerbal achievements you are most proud of.
I think one of my most proud achievements, well, I managed to land on the moon using solid rocket boosters only, which is
Whoa.
cool. I recently,
Yeah,
though,
wow.
you know the Dream Chaser spacecraft?
No.
The Dream Chaser is a little winged space plane which is going to be going to the space station to deliver cargo. And one of its cool ideas is they want to be able to basically land the stuff anywhere, right? Which means
After coming back from?
yeah, so they want to be able to land it at any airport.
Okay, that straight up just looks like the
their,
space shuttle from G.I. Joe.
It does.
That's the space shuttle
I thought, can
playset
we
from
take
G.I.
this
Joe.
A step further. I demonstrated that I could deorbit it manually and land it on a runway. So I thought,
That was the one I always
could
wanted,
you
but I never
land
got because it was
say,
wicked
in downtown
expensive.
New York City and deliver the experiment to, whoever was waiting, like door-to-door service. And so yeah, I successfully landed a Dream Chaser style spacecraft in the middle of a city.
Wow. There are cities down there?
You can add them with mods.
Okay.
That's why we've never encountered one.
Just
That's what I thought.
I always see like the urban layout, but we never actually
Whenever we
land
get
on it.
close to those, it always seems like it's just like fields.
Texture map or
again.
something.
I think I'm just going to brute force this thing.
Sure.
Let's see.
So
how
he's
close we come
outside.
after one orbit.
Oh, now he's going on
Project Beast
inside.
fashion, I'm sure.
Yes, I think I've completely screwed this up.
So he's trying.
Okay.
Welcome to our pain.
She'll fix this.
Yeah, he's gonna fix it in like 5 seconds.
You're getting closer.
Yeah, we are getting closer.
Like he's just gonna blow on the keyboard and suddenly he's in the right space.
Is he going to slow down or speed up?
Definitely gonna.
I assume he would want to slow down.
This adjustment. Maneuver again.
How about you, Josh? What was like a stick out moment that you were like,
Well, okay, so I hadn't played the game in a while, and I was watching Project Beast, and it kind of makes me want to do something at GameSpot with the game. So in like one afternoon, I like stranded a Kerbal on Mars, and I did it pretty quick. I was
On
pretty
purpose?
proud. And so now my goal is to have Andy Bauman save him, and he's never played the game.
Bring him
Oh
home.
boy.
that'll be great.
So yeah, he's stuck there, like no return trip. His ship is tipped over.
Oh yeah, I remember I tipped over a ship, and then because I was using a mod called Kerbal Attachment System, I was able to attach new rockets and use the rockets to stand it up again,
Oh whoa.
Whoa.
which was kind of cool. So that was during something called the Interstellar Quest, which was a very popular series I did that basically included a whole bunch of mods and had me start with very basic rockets and build my way out to, warp drive capable spacecraft. And
I watched
there
some of
ended
that.
up
It's
being
pretty
something
awesome.
of an
I
accidental
bet.
subplot with another Kerbal that posed as another one, and at the end we had a problem with the
Oh, we know all about fanficking our
yeah.
Kerbals.
getting fuel that was listed as nan, which is in computer science, that's not a number. It's what happens when you try to do things like take a square root or divide something by 0, for example. It's not technically dividing by 0. So what happened, that started contaminating all my fuel systems. So we started calling it the nanovirus.
Nice.
In the end, they abandoned their home world and went exploring because the nanovirus was killing all their spaceships. Okay.
Okay, that was definitely a Star Trek plot at some
yeah.
point.
Yes.
There's always a nanovirus in one of those episodes.
Just get this. Ever so slightly. Oh.
It looked like he was adjusting the inclination of his orbit to get his intercept
Okay, that's close enough again.
closer.
gonna add another maneuver here. Yeah, that first one was clearly fluke.
Where is
What I want to do is get this red thing and this thing here close together so I
Okay.
can have an intersect, but adjusting them one way or another is not putting them as close as I would like. I mean, we're basically on opposite sides of this orbit, right?
Yeah.
So I think what I should do is at least fire up my engines and go prograde, and
Just push
I'm
it
just
out.
going to do that here, to be honest.
Okay.
You're just like nodding along.
Yeah, prograde.
You're flying the spaceship.
Makes sense to me.
Drew is playing the role of me in this video.
Trying to turn the spacecraft around. Basically, because we're so far apart, we would have to take a really long time to catch up. And poor guy in spacesuit is telling us to hurry up, obviously.
So fortunate these guys don't need to eat or anything.
Yeah, I actually once managed to EVA one of these guys back from a planet.
Whoa.
Via careful use of, well, various things. Okay, now that's more like it. So again, you see this is chasing this one.
Oh, and now it's all weird because that's how this goes.
Now I'm just going to time accelerate and see how close we get.
All right, so
you
now
see, he's
he's going
catching
to
up,
catch up, right?
Right? And then that's getting closer. And so once we come with a prediction that's past it, then we'll make another slight correction. And then
Yeah, I'm curious what the
hopefully put us
window is he's looking for.
in the same ballpark.
Right.
Like, what is the ballpark for him?
Oh boy, that's close.
Yeah, that's good. So that'll be where he is, and that's where I am next time around. So the next time, we shall make a subtle adjustment, and we shall land right on top of him and bring him home. Or at least tell him that he has to go and rescue his other friend, who I will say he's been in a spacesuit on his own for a long time. So he could be either space crazy and homicidal, or at the very least, he will probably be smelling of poop.
I read an article recently that it basically said like space madness is real, or it was real. Like there's a they call it the break off. Are you familiar with this?
I don't know about this.
Like I think it was before the astronaut program where they had pilots go way high, like 70,000 feet, and they said that once you reach a point where you can see the curvature of the Earth, you get like a dissociative disorder, and in like two-thirds of people thought it was cool, and 1/3 of people freaked out. And
like
felt
some
that they were
Cthulhu-esque,
not
like,
Yeah.
That's not how.
impossible angles.
Right,
and
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Square
For
pegs
some
going into
reason,
round holes.
once
Like,
we
that's
got to
not.
the astronaut program, maybe because they were so far away from the Earth, like that sort of dissipated. But they're anticipating it coming back around with things like space tourism. Like normal
Yeah.
people going into space and seeing that, oh no, we're actually on this tiny planet, it might freak people out.
That's always been my
There is actually
concern,
something
actually, for the
that's,
idea
I
of
think,
space tourism.
coined as the overview effect. And
Yes.
it's basically that people coming back from space, they are changed for sure, and they're generally
You leave a piece of yourself out there.
suggested-
Some say your soul.
many of them.
I mean, I saw
really
Fantastic
start
Four. I know what happened.
Yeah.
projecting the Earth a lot more.
Gamma rays, man.
And I noticed, for example, I'm a big fan of the B612 Foundation. Do you know these guys?
No.
They're a bunch of ex-astronomers and scientists that really don't want asteroids to hit the Earth.
I agree with that sentiment.
It's in the Bay Area. And
I
they-
want to give these people money.
Yeah, I think you just gained 3 fans.
Spacecraft.
Two.
They've come up with
You know,
Bring it, asteroids. I'm not scared.
spacecraft designed to help.
What's an asteroid got? We're Earth.
asteroids
Yeah, we got
and,
Bruce Willis.
spacecraft potentially to avoid to adjust the orbit of asteroids. So oh crap. So these are real astronauts. Made a slight mistake here.
Considering a
astronauts.
real Armageddon situation.
Yes, this is
Saving the
a
Earth.
real thing, right? This is
Are
not
any
some-
of them oil drillers?
No, but you know what? Every single one I've known has been so badass and great at everything they do. I suspect they could do that.
Okay.
Funny, Chuck Yeager, the guy that broke the sound barrier. I believe his dad was in gas, gas pipeline guy.
Really?
And that was one of the things that apparently he learned how to work with pipes and everything, which made it perfect for him to fly a supersonic aircraft that had a rocket engine in it.
It's a big pipe under pressure.
Yeah. So because there was a lot of piping. I mean, rocket science. A lot of rocket science is just figuring out how to pump enough fuel into the engines as quickly as possible. like actually building the rockets in Kerbal Space Program, it kind of ignores a lot of these things. I'm just gonna
really?
fly towards this
Huh.
directly.
This doesn't really get to the real dilemmas of space travel.
The real nitty-gritty of it all.
You don't have to worry about getting enough fuel.
I have plenty of delta. I've got 2 kilometers per second of delta V, which should put me in the right place. Okay, 50 meters per second.
Poor Scott. I feel like he's like looking at his watch, like I gotta get back
I
to
have
work.
like a real job. I have to
You
go
the
do.
stats of an engine.
I hope we didn't
and
get him fired.
Pop it on any fuel tank, but
Yeah, there's no need to worry about fuel pump direction and things like that. And the fuel lines are able to pump at infinite rates.
Right.
and even pumping.
Could you imagine if that were in the game?
engine
like-
or fuel tanks like that isn't something that's pretty.
In the
common
chat,
real
Scott
life.
Manley says, "Make Jupiter pay for the asteroid wall."
Potentially going to.
I just saw some footage. Some, I think, amateur astronomer did, or so, like they were
a cool
looking at
idea to
Jupiter,
get the
and there was a
fuel
fucking
going
impact
fast.
so big
yeah, I
that
saw
you could
it
actually
a couple
see
weeks
the
ago.
like the debris coming off.
in your middle
Yeah.
tank if you can pump.
No one
fuel
knows what it was.
inside
It was probably an
and
asteroid.
then
probably an asteroid.
Ditch those extra.
Sorry, lizard
Once
men.
those dump off, you've got a full
We did not get Scott fired. He says.
Good,
Oh,
good,
good,
good, good,
yeah,
good.
instead of one that's like half empty with all the extra space and weight.
So Falcon Heavy, I don't know if you know, it's going to fly this year for the first time. It's basically if you take 3 Falcon 9s and strap them together. And
Is this the human?
it's not human. It's going to potentially do that, but the whole idea is it's a SpaceX rocket that can carry a lot of mass into orbit.
Right.
They think that when they finally get it set up to its full potential, when it realizes its full potential, it'll be like 50 tons into orbit. So that'll be pretty sweet.
Wow.
That sounds heavy.
And that'll be launching later this year for the first time, and then
This is how we start
as
getting
they progress through
space-borne
it,
garbage
they're
scows,
gonna
just
add
dropping
fuel
shit into the
cross-
sun, right? That's
They
the end
originally
goal.
wanted to
Yeah.
add fuel cross flow, but I think the early
Well, Superman
launches
comes
are
and just
happening
launches
because they
everything.
wanna
Right.
Test
With the
everything
nukes.
else first. You're like, what happens when you?
Well, he's
strap
got this
3
encounter, it
rockets
looks like.
together?
Oh yeah, he's.
Oh
there.
no, he's got this.
Okay, so we're
the
gonna
Russians.
get this guy. I'm just gonna fly in as close as possible.
Looks like he's about 30 meters per second on
Killer
the
velocity.
speed.
I kill velocity a lot in this. Velocity has been murdered repeatedly during my series.
Scott Manley, velocity assassin.
Velocity assassin.
Serial velocity killer.
Yes.
Velocity Assassin actually does sound like a Japanese wrestler's
There we
nickname.
go.
Oh yeah, he parked
Bob,
it.
it is your turn, and he
Yeah.
is able to escape. Good. Leave this behind.
This is
turn
on
those
the
lights
He didn't even
blue
comment on our cool
lights.
LEDs, man.
Oh wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Where's my spacecraft? There it is. There. Okay. Kerbal's Archangel. Yeah. What is the time? Oh wow. 150. I missed that meeting.
Oh no.
I do have a day job that I'm skipping out on temporarily.
Thank
I feel
you
bad.
for coming.
It's a business.
Good thing there's no record on the internet of him doing this.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
very interesting that we're very close together.
I'm gonna go get a burrito.
Yeah, you're right.
Definitely not gonna go save like 3
Definitely.
stranded space
Yeah.
cosmonauts.
Oh boy, the burrito place, it was just wild today.
The
Just
line at
forever.
Chipotle was
That was bad.
crazy.
And in we go.
Okay.
I saw somebody made an
Yay!
amazing
Awesome.
custom
No.
Kerbal controller
This guy.
that looked like the dashboard to the ship.
Was it like they made their
California.
own like
Oh,
that?
nice.
That was that
Actually,
mech
that's
game that
better,
had the
because
giant
then we
fucking
can-
controller.
Yeah, what's
Steel
it called?
Battalion.
Steel
Steel
Battalion.
Battalion.
Yeah, it was basically it had all the switches, knobs, and stuff that are on. Oh, it looked awesome. It made me want to go make
Then-
one. I don't think it had a working nav ball though, which sounds pretty tough.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Like an analog, actual floating ball.
that would have the marks on it.
Yeah, that
Oh,
could
that'd be
move. That'd be
cool.
insane.
We'll match orbits. I think I'll actually go further out here. 187.
How much fuel has he got? Yeah, he only burned like 1,000.
Okay, so 1 hour.
Does he have enough room in
What I
his
should be
capsule
doing
for
here.
this? Does he have a 4-person capsule?
It's
Well,
a
that's-
it's a 3-person. Remember, he put a. He put,
And
it's a-
yeah.
That's
That'll
what
do it.
remember.
I
messed
see.
up. Yeah, so I don't mistake. I made that mistake last time.
It's like a newer feature.
It is, and I'm actually really terrible because I played the game for so long. I sometimes forget that there are new features. Sure.
Which
yeah,
features
the
are you talking
retro
about?
game
The warp to
played
next
on, like,
maneuver, I think.
Okay.
It made it. Watching them land on the moon is like, wow.
It made
I
it
didn't
so
have
much
that
easier.
technology.
These days.
But then when Scott started playing, like they didn't even have maneuver nodes.
Oh yeah,
So
they didn't have.
I
the
can't even
option.
imagine trying to do this without
First
those
one of the
nodes.
videos I did.
Oh man.
I started at like 0.22, I think.
You know, the other thing is,
I started at
as long as you had quick saves, that would actually help.
Right.
Like,
Well,
because that way you could just be like, oh, okay, what do I need to
degree in
do?
astronomy, you know.
Right, that didn't work.
I had to do all
Right,
this stuff on
load.
paper.
We couldn't do that.
Right.
You've heard about the so-called new planet that has been in the news of late?
Planet X.
Planet X. It's not going to hit us despite some of the crazier headlines. No, it's discovered based upon orbital mechanics. We're not sure that it's there, but pointing out that back in the 1800s they discovered Neptune essentially by the same kind of idea, right?
And how is that by how it is affecting other stuff?
How it's
Yes.
affecting other stuff. Now Neptune, the guy, it was the 1800s. He didn't have a computer. He did it with pen and paper.
Wow.
Like no calculators or anything. He's just proper badass mathematician.
The original calculator?
Right.
Your brain.
It was Leverrier, the man.
The old gray matter.
That's a cool name.
He was also god of the sea.
Right.
So he did have seahorses.
He knew
kinda
that.
figured it out,
He called those his computers.
What you doing, Neptune? I think I found a new planet.
Noticed that the
Run these numbers for
Right,
me.
run these.
Planet X is actually just the sentient hell planet from Fifth Element,
Oh,
just
nice.
biding its time, waiting
Cool.
to come crash into us.
I mean, it looks easy.
Yeah, well, it's super low thrust is what I mean.
Okay.
What I'm trying to look for is where it's going to shift my ascending node and descending node.
Change.org petition to name Planet X Mr. Shadow.
Yeah, that's actually just about as good as I can manage. Let's do that. Oh. Come here. Come here. There.
All right, so he's again combining.
Okay, and then light
Some of the maneuver.
node. And how are we doing in terms of fuel in this main stage here? Oh, we're getting low in fuel here.
Oh boy.
He still has that last
I wonder if he'll make it to
Okay,
the last
node in
stage.
5 hours, 44 minutes, and then we will initiate the burn. Okay. So warp to next maneuver.
It seems like I don't know. It seems like you have every confidence in getting yourself out of a jam, which you should because you seem to have this game pretty under control. Do you ever feel tension when you're playing this game?
Oh god, well see, that's the thing. During the early games, they didn't have save.
Oh, I take it back.
That weren't available. And so flying to the moon, it would take, a long time. And if you messed up the landing, that was it. That was like one of the last times I really felt like proper edge of my seat,
Tell
fear.
us
It's the way to play it.
about
Iron Man.
Yeah.
The only other time I get that kind of like, heart racing is perhaps when I'm PvPing in EVE Online or something, and that. So it's very hard for me to get that. I'm pretty much a cool cucumber as it goes. Wow. There was a video I did last year where I talked about, Neil Armstrong during his landing, his heart rate went up to like 140 beats.
And he auto-saved all the time.
Constantly.
I wanted to see
He's actually
how
kind of a
high
safe
my
scummer,
heart rate would go. So
I'm
I
being
actually, I got an exact model of the
Houston, I'm gonna
landing,
F5 this.
same altitude,
Go for it, Neil.
same
Go for
delta V and everything. So we had to scale the planets up.
You say so,
Put
Neil.
myself up to a heart monitor, just to see if I could get a rise out of
Make a
my
permanent save. Make a real save. Don't just do the quick save.
Do it the right
They
way.
pointed out that, well, there was nothing on the line. There was no consequences of failing.
Yeah.
So to really make it, to rack up the tension, I got my daughter to stand behind me with a bowl of ice water that was going to be dumped on me
If you failed.
if I failed.
Season 2,
Yeah.
Project B.
Yep.
No.
The weird part is it's actually Scott's daughter.
Yeah, we have a bring
We're
her
actually
on.
we're just gonna bring in an army of children with cattle prods.
I'm expanding the guest contributor program.
So, ascending node, descending node.
Giant Beast reacts to getting electrocuted by 8th graders.
Real, though. Real reactions.
Only real reactions.
Only real
Maybe
reactions.
not.
Real names, no gimmicks.
Should I do this or not? I'm wondering.
I think we'll get chased in another orbit loop.
Yeah, let's chase him around it again. We'll try to see where that puts us.
Hard to see him.
Yeah, see, he's
Okay, I see
fallen
him now.
down ahead of us.
Oh yeah, I see. He's very.
He's actually
light.
he's going to be going ahead of us because he's in a lower
inside,
orbit,
right,
and a
okay.
higher orbit. So
Oh, wow.
actually,
It's pretty close.
yeah, this one I might be able to do if I slow down now here. I'm just totally trying to eyeball this to guess whether I can catch up. And then what I can do is lift myself up.
Yeah, never touch those.
This is a really inefficient burn.
Got nothing but fuel.
But I get tons of fuel now. So the idea being that I'm going to lift
I forget what even
my orbit outwards.
those nodes are called.
Me
Let
either.
him catch up on me a bit.
I think I had you explain these at one point.
Swing down
like-
and try to catch.
I know the prograde and retrograde and the axial ones. I forget what those ones are called.
I mean, if you have infinite amount of fuel, you can do anything, right? If you have the time.
That's what my bumper sticker says.
Nice. That's a good joke, Drew.
It's good that we can comment on
Yeah,
coworkers.
Joke lost the
Bits.
time. Yeah.
Away.
And I find that Drew is actually the expert at making like deeply underappreciated jokes.
Shave off.
Oh yeah,
He does it constantly.
Yes, there's a specific name for that type of
he might be secretly the funniest person on this team.
Oh, there, look, I got
no
really
secret.
close there. So
Well, it's
Nice.
I don't think he gets
See
the
that?
credit he deserves for that.
Exactly.
There we go.
113. Okay, let's accept that. And so this is a really stupid burn. You see, what I'm doing is I'm about to fall back, and then I'm going to kick myself back up again, and that way I'll catch up.
That
with
is
him
a pretty
sooner, and he has
crazy
to use
maneuver.
less of his diapers. 9.6 kilometers. Let's go for it.
Yeah, it's doable.
Okay, we're coming for you. We're coming for you.
Scott, I don't mean to challenge your methodology here, but you seem really obsessed with the Kerbal space diapers. You've talked about this a few times now.
Or something.
Yeah, he's got his GoPro out there, and he's recording some wisecracks. Unfortunately, he's just been
I
stuck.
think our guy was in orbit for 14 years.
17 years?
It was a lot of years.
Yeah, there were no more diapers left.
Point out. But okay, 12 minutes. What would be your least favorite type of music to be stuck with?
A sound effects CD. Just like,
Martha Stewart's Haunted Halloween Sound, Volume 4.
Just werewolf howls. Orca sounds.
Yeah.
Just a lot of theremin.
Explosions and punches.
I'm pretty sure that is what is it? An enhanced interrogation technique. That's the euphemism that is used, right? Is it not?
Sounds like it.
Okay. But I mean, they put astronauts through this kind of stuff because, well, they can. Astronauts volunteer for all sorts of terrible studies.
Yeah, this makes me just want to start playing this again.
Taking blood, while they're in space.
Have you dipped back in since we finished it all?
You see the one
No.
about the person that's like taking all the astronauts.
I'm waiting for the console versions, obviously.
Scott was
I know.
saying in chat that at GDC he got a chance
it's
to
a
check
thing.
out the console releases.
They're,
Did you have any thoughts on how they are?
Not
trying to
that
figure
I
out
saw.
about bone loss.
And that's how you do it, huh?
That's it.
You burn your pee?
Burn. Well,
The Wii U one is the one that I feel like might be the easiest to use on account of the gamepad, but
and that will tell them
It's getting further.
it's getting further away, and I'm not doing anything here. What's happening
What is happening?
is the reaction control system is firing, and
Right,
it's turning
into
me.
thrust. Nice.
Okay.
We had that
See
problem
how
a lot.
I'm wobbling around?
Uh-huh.
That is while I'm wobbling, what's happening is the reaction control system is firing. See that? And that thrust is adjusting my orbit.
Can you turn that off?
I kind of want to use the reaction control system right now to adjust my orbit a little. Well, so there's a translation mode built in. And I'm just gonna take that down to about there, and then we're gonna go for it. We're just gonna burn in.
fucking A, man.
Charge of the Light Brigade.
Just get at it.
And then we're gonna pick him up, pluck him from the sky.
How far away? It looked like he was pretty
Yeah,
far away.
who's going to go towards who here?
It looked like it was about 60 kilometers.
21 minutes, and he is 145 kilometers. Okay, so he should be visible now. Where is he?
We never really identified that either. Like what the furthest distance was that was still visible.
Yeah, right.
I'm not seeing him, but he's out there
I mean,
somewhere.
he's a tiny baby boy. He's not a whole.
You.
Target. There we go. I could go to him, but right now he doesn't. He actually technically has enough Delta V that he could rescue himself, but I'm going to do this instead. So what I want to do
point
is
at him and
slow
burn.
down my relative speed.
Maybe.
So again, we're going to.
He was still behind him, right? I can't remember.
Oh, so that speed down there where it says target is relative?
Yeah, that's relative speed now. Because we're in target mode, you can have surface mode, which would incorporate the rotation of the planet, and target mode will do it relative to him.
Okay.
And so we want. So by switching back and forth, you can adjust different things here. So I'm just going to try and push my velocity vector towards him a little. And that's now pushed out our rendezvous distance a little.
Oh,
That's fine.
he's behind him?
He's got a jetpack, it's fine.
Yeah, he does. This is like almost like The Martian, the bit at the end where we're trying to capture him. I should
Spoilers!
almost ditch this stage because it's just slowing me down and all this turning. I'm actually going to fire my engines to bring me in closer and faster because I just want to get this over with. So you see how I've lined these
They've
things
been
up?
there.
Yeah, been there.
He must be out there
I think
somewhere.
the comments agree. Go look at our couple episodes.
He must be there somewhere.
Yeah, Bob and Dudley are getting a little impatient, I think.
Where is this guy?
Where is this guy? Turn on your transponder.
Okay, yeah.
This
he
is
behind a
87
little bit.
kilometers and a close approach 6.2.
Okay, yeah. He's
That's
super
doable.
close, yeah.
We'll see him soon enough. We're closing in at 100 meters per second, but because of the differential gravity, you see.
Chat seems to be tearing itself apart over tardigrades in space,
So now I'm gonna-
otherwise known as water bears.
Yeah, water bears.
Yep.
He is a little green dot in space.
There he is.
I mean, he really is a little green dot in space, but our targeting system sees him as a green dot in space.
Pale green dot.
Ah, yes. Oh, God. Let's ditch this stage soon.
Yeah, ditch it. Is he out? Does
You
he
have
still
so
have
little
any-
fuel left.
In space.
I guess never throw away Delta V.
I
man.
guess not.
Yeah.
That's something.
Especially not when you're that close to the planet. Like, you might as well just burn it off, right?
Flying
Yes.
snail. Elon Mollusk. That was after the Warriors winning the parade in Oakland. Do you remember the parade being led by the giant snail?
No.
Yeah, so Oakland obviously famous for Burning Man artists and stuff like that. They had a giant snail car. And on the roof of it, they had a couple of celebrities. They had the mayor, Libby Schaff, and MC Hammer.
How did we pivot to this story?
I
yeah,
tried to do that in Kerbal Space.
Elon Mollusk
Oh,
instead of Musk.
Pretty good name.
That's
Yeah,
All right.
Oakland is an awesome and interesting place.
Do you try to recreate space
I do some
endeavors
things.
often?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I've landed the Falcon spacecraft manually, which is fun. And well, if you remember, just before Christmas, they landed the first Falcon 9 correctly
On the ground.
on the ground, and somebody commented, "Oh well, that. You think that's impressive? I just got a parking spot at a shopping mall days before Christmas." And so my Christmas video was trying to land the Falcon 9 in a parking spot,
Nice.
which, needless to say, resulted in a lot of very singed cars.
We gotta get some more mods.
we do. We just dive into the mods, man.
there he is.
I guess we should wait to see
I'm
if
gonna
they're
actually
all
move these
they
guys
work
in
with
much
1.1.
Oh,
Right.
they'll all be broken.
I know.
I have a feeling the community will fix some of that stuff pretty quickly, though. The Kerbal community seems nothing if not deeply engaged.
Totally.
Possible. Oh, God damn.
Oh, you're gonna drop it.
Burning out.
Look at that thing.
That's like a weird shape for,
Yeah.
this, for us anyway.
Losing him.
Oh boy.
We're losing him.
No, you're not losing him. You just switch to him and just fly him over.
Still going in roughly the right direction. But where is it? There he is there. I could
Go
actually
get him.
just... I'm going to fire towards him. That's what I'm going to do.
See, this would be freaking me out.
Towards him at 5
Yes.
I would be panicking at this point.
Because you'd be afraid that
You would think it had all gone wrong.
Yes.
you think like, okay, we're out of the fuel that we knew we wanted to use here. What if we burn too much trying to get close to it?
There.
Or no, just in like, oh, we missed it. We didn't get him out. He's
Right.
past us.
I can actually use my...
Though remember, he is just
System
already
just
out.
to-
He's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no need to EVA out of his suit.
And hopefully I won't slam into him and smash him, because that would be really unfortunate.
That would be kind of
So,
great.
they actually
be very
came up
us.
with ideas like this during the Apollo program to rescue astronauts in space.
Oh yeah.
You ever heard of something called MOOS? Man out of space easily. It was basically like a briefcase-sized heat shield and rocket. So the guy would jump out of the spacecraft and inflate a heat shield out of foam.
No.
Basically parachute to the ground from space.
What? We need that.
awesome.
That's basically like a Halo jump, like but real.
Not man out of space,
Not really.
safest or sanely. No, it was easily. And then there was another one called
riding
LESS, the Lunar Excursion, or sorry, Lunar Escape System. And this was
Escape from the moon.
Yeah, so it was if your lunar
Starring Kurt
module
Russell.
had broken, you could take some of the fuel and load it into this thing, and then fly into space.
We're in.
Yeah,
All right, now
Yes.
all that's left is to not burn up on reentry.
that's right. I'm gonna
Not that anyone would ever do that.
I'm gonna not burn up. I hope. I'm gonna burn the remainder of my fuel as I come down low.
How you feeling about this, Vinny?
We don't want that to happen.
Good. This is awesome.
Are you learning?
I'm like riveted by like
Lunar-
what his
the
maneuver is
lunar
going to be to get in.
excursion, Lunar Escape System is actually really interesting because NASA invented the first balance board as a test rig for flying that. You know the Wii balance board?
Yeah.
They built a system like that in the 1960s to see whether astronauts could steer spacecraft by leaning back and forth and adjusting the center of mass.
Congratulations to NASA for having their technology
so-
used to have dads pretend to
illustrious
slide down
history
hills.
For the Wii balance board.
Yeah, the Wii balance board. So I actually did a video a few months ago where I tried to fly a spacecraft that way.
How'd that go?
Oh, he just did
Pretty
it.
badly.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'm gonna start burning my fuel.
Yeah, he's
What I want to do is keep my descent altitude high enough,
he's in under 30.
so that will be. So as I fire my engines, what'll happen is my altitude will drop down. So I want to keep that from getting too low. There we go. We want to keep it around 30.
Does this take into account the angle that you're?
Yeah, so
re-entering?
I'm adjusting my angle down here. So I'm looking at the map and looking at this. It's one of the mistakes that a lot of players make when they're trying to do Kerbal space programs. They spend too much time looking at their spacecraft and not enough time looking at the map. Turns out the most
We spent a lot of time looking at the map, to be
things we
fair.
do.
Well, that we did all right with.
So we'll just check our fuel here.
And we are running with the Kerbal engineering.
Yeah, this is
Mod.
an incredibly.
I just had
because
a completely
you can
like
calculate
a brain fart
bunch of
moment
these,
of
like,
thinking
delta
Drew was
V's and
talking
things
to
like
us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Drew's here. Oh, hey, Drew. Like,
wants to break out
Because we've done those coast-to-coast
Yeah,
things with
yeah,
him, so yeah, it's all kind of broken.
This is
guys
actually
having a weekly.
super interesting that like how he's slowing down. He's not actually burning retrograde. He's burning off center a bit to keep. We
So,
remember
yeah, so
when-
it extends so that
Yeah.
he slows down in atmosphere.
and keeps his
Yes.
Having
periapsis about
all
the
these
same
numbers
height,
is really,
but slows
really useful.
down.
So all I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that I slow down as much as possible because I don't think
Because he doesn't actually want to descend. He has a good.
He just wants to be slow, right?
Yeah.
I do have some radiators that will help keep us cool regardless.
Can you skip off the top?
We should watch his other video.
Yeah, sounds good.
It is
fine with that.
possible, but I'm
It
not
seems
sure.
short. It's
I
like
got 15 minutes for
If
that.
you're an amateur, I guess is the correct answer to that.
You'd probably come back around and land the second time.
Yeah, but when they did that in Apollo, they only had enough life support for one go. If they missed it, they would be dead by the time they came back around.
Yeah, so the angle that they're talking about for the Apollo one, like in Apollo 13, is like if it's too
We're
steep,
never gonna get back.
yeah, if it's too
Right.
steep, then you're gonna burn up because you're going too
But
fast through the atmosphere.
Right.
And
then
if it was too high,
No.
They
they'll
don't
slow down in
land.
time.
If this basketball and this softball were placed 40 feet apart.
Yeah. Apollo 13 is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
what if you?
Snow Armageddon.
And rewatching it after a few dozen hours in Kerbal Space Program, it's
It's educational.
yeah, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
What if you just hit a mountain on your way down?
No one would ever do
What
that.
about that part?
You know,
We're getting there.
wrong place, wrong time. I think
fuel is
there's
burning down so
always
slowly.
a little bit of
I could actually use physical time acceleration, which means
leeway given.
physics engine runs faster, and clearly you guys have never tested that.
What?
because it gives you the warning the first time you try to use it.
Wait, what's the what? What?
We've done this.
Have we?
Now I've ditched most of that.
We've done it on this machine. They haven't done it on this.
Essentially,
Okay, what is it?
Most of my excess velocity.
You can run the so normally when you go time warp,
Saving
it turns
some
off
weight at the same
physics,
time.
Yep.
and you can run time
us
warp
coming
with
in.
physics enabled.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Going
But it gets
Full.
pretty
Oh,
wonky.
there's the tilt.
There it is.
Cockpit loaded.
Right, we could do that. Cockpit loaded, yeah, with
Full
entire
curves.
crew. Bob, Dudney, and Bill. I guess Jebediah died.
I feel like Bob might have died a few times, but
No, it's Bill. It's Bill we killed repeatedly.
To be fair, I think Bob
does
probably died a
Yeah.
couple times.
Okay.
What was it?
Ritalin.
Ritalin was the one that we sent into another dimension at one point.
Yep.
Because I'm afraid
trying to save Jack.
going too
Yes.
fast.
Jack and the Ritalin.
Yes.
The Ballad of Jack and the
I've
Ritalin.
had some bad
It's
I
fun-
remember that bit.
It's funny watching exactly what
No,
Scott's
but
doing.
the
I mean, it's very
capsule can
educational,
sometimes burn up,
but also the
and
way
I've
our
had that
comments
experience
changed after this went up.
Oh, yeah.
Where we suddenly got a like,
So
why aren't you guys burning off your excess fuel? After
Because we didn't watch this video. That's why. That's the answer to all those questions. Is we did not watch this video.
Obviously, a lot of people
Let
did.
that go.
Yeah, and that's good.
We're gonna
I'm glad
land.
people watched it.
Kazakhstan.
They crashed into a mountain.
Actually, that's where a lot of
No, it's
Yeah,
Kerbal
that's
Stan.
Our thrust to weight ratio isn't high enough for us to unfortunately attempt a propulsive landing.
What is a propulsive landing?
What?
Like land vertically.
It's where you land on rockets like SpaceX does. Did you see them testing their Dragon capsule yesterday?
Okay. Is it? Does the Soyuz land like that?
The Soyuz lands on a parachute, and as it gets close to the ground, it fires a rocket for 2 seconds. It slows them down at the last minute.
Got it.
That's kind of cool.
Look at that.
But
It's how you have to
Dragon
land-
wants to do it without a parachute.
yeah, it's how you have to land on the moon because
Pretty
there's no
much.
parachutes.
Yes.
I guess he's
A
got.
common mistake of new Kerbal.
He's going slow enough where I guess he's not worried about.
Heat.
Oh, those solar panels are done for.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing that put us off of doing this.
Surprised
Like,
actually
again,
they're surviving.
piecing together from comments on the most recent
There,
video,
We lost one.
lots of people have been like, "Oh, you should be burning
we're
through
totally
your."
Through
safe
re-entry?
on
Yeah,
this.
but like, we had such a bad experience with that early on.
Yeah.
Almost burned all
It
the
definitely-
fuel. We're gonna land somewhere nicely.
It definitely informed
there's the
our
second.
choices later on.
1,000 meters per second.
Here's the fuel.
And ditch that.
Whoa.
Yep.
Oh God,
Whoa, I'm just gonna keep that.
And he still has control here.
how did that not blow up everything?
Oh, wait, okay, that didn't quite work.
Oh boy.
Get off of there.
How did he just do that?
He just sloughed off the
Turn.
other stage.
And he's not going that fast
Parachute.
either.
And we are victorious.
We made it.
Whoa! We rescued them!
Oh
We
man.
saved
Hey, they're not on the ground yet.
Vinny, Alex, and Austin.
Yeah. Hi.
Congratulations. And thank you. On behalf of America.
Man.
Failure is
that's
not
great.
an option.
No, it's not. And it's not where we were today. So, wow.
Yes, we are at home.
I hope they get some of
Something
the
crashing into the ground there.
like the textureless void is tough to see when it's
There.
just like a seed.
Yeah.
Skylab.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, that's things you can
One
mod.
epic flight
Right.
to save the Kerbal race.
And we just got to make sure sometimes things explode.
Good job, Scott.
Wow.
Thank you.
Manley has landed.
The Manley is landed.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
Let's. I'll switch over and we'll load up that other
Yeah,
video.
you want to go toss that on?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You need me to link that to you?
Yeah,
You got it?
DJSNM
I'm just gonna do a
Twitter,
quick search for it.
Okay.
Not going to touch that one. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for rescuing our stranded Kerbals.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Fly safe.
Okay.
We didn't. I'm sorry. Your message fell on deaf ears. We did not do that.
We tried our best.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
did.
I'm gonna quickly just do a quick search for this, and we'll find it in a second here. And I believe this is a video of Scott trying to recreate as best he can the conditions to see how much further he could have gone with the ship. So, sorry, give me 1 second here.
Scout Manley, right?
Manley. Project B.
Apparently, exploding parts. This is from Jimbozo in the chat. Exploding parts don't damage surrounding parts. The reason you guys were having problems was that because when one of your parts exploded, the parts attached to it would run into each other, like your main capsule, and blow up.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. So wait.
You can't link it to me. My computer is not tied to this screen. Vinny has to do it over there.
Yeah, sorry, and it doesn't have a chat open, so
you can't see
give
it
me
there.
1 second. Scott's channel.
You can tell this is he's currently logged in on my YouTube channel, and it's Drake videos, some friends of mine doing a Pokemon Let's Play.
Follow up, there it is.
There we go.
We'll get through the ad first, of course.
Sorry, Scott.
Sierra features
Nope.
support for
Nope. Sorry, Scott.
acts
You're
as
not
a
getting
cinema-
free ad time on here.
That's too late. The brand got out,
The
man.
brand is out.
I
Sierra.
will watch the whole ad though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. There's no skip button, so we don't
There's no
have a
skip
choice.
We don't
button.
have a
Yeah.
choice on this one.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up, and we're just gonna go right
There we
in.
go.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and
that's gotta
this is
come down a
actually
little.
follow-up to my Project B.E.A.S.T rescue mission. Yes, for those who aren't paying attention, Giant Bomb Vinny, he basically ran a space mission.
Giant Bomb Vinny.
Finally got
Giant
it
Bomb
right,
Vinny.
But decided to enlist some.
I'm gonna take us off the
professional
picture for this.
Sounds
'cause-
good.
to rescue his crew.
I'll move it to the
which he had
left.
Stuck in space. So I went over to their offices, I went and flew some spaceships, and then I returned to Kerbin. But the reason I returned to Kerbin was because I basically had to go back to work. And I realized on reflection that
It's
I
true.
probably had enough fuel left in the spacecraft to take these poor abandoned individuals, these would be Bill, Bob, and Dude-Free Kerman, take them somewhere interesting. I mean, sure, these guys had a great view.
Oh, that was me leaning on the
Vinny.
keyboard. Hey, I missed the beginning, so I'm watching it again.
Oh, okay.
Scott, man.
Fair.
Let's say professional, unprofessional. I probably had enough fuel
There we go.
left in the spacecraft to take these poor abandoned individuals, these would be Bill, Bob, and Dude-Free Kerman, take them somewhere interesting. I mean, sure, these guys had a great view for many, many weeks, months, possibly years. They'd been just
Not
sitting in
possibly,
orbit
definitely.
watching, the Earth, Kerbin, revolve below them. Now, this isn't the exact save that I used. What I did was I got some photos from the recording, which showed me how much fuel I had, how much Delta V I had, the spacecraft design, and the approximate orbital parameters.
Holy
So
cow.
from that,
a lot of work.
those parameters, that save file, I'm going to take these guys places. And first of all, as you can tell, we are going to Minmus. Yes, the second satellite of Kerbin that many people overlook. It's actually easier to land on than the moon. I should have probably mentioned that to Vinny while he was wasting all his effort doing that.
Oh, waste.
No,
Oh,
look.
look at that.
Interesting.
Earth has one moon. We go to the one moon.
Spacecraft wasn't really designed to land, right? It does not have landing gear because we were just going to be
I wonder what
rescuing
mod he's using there.
poor stranded.
Looks like a rotten corn
Oh,
pop.
we've never been to Minmus.
Kerbin. But hey,
No, I mean
you can
the
land things without
the
landing.
engineer is
I
different.
see, I see, I
Very
see.
gently on the engine belt.
I see
Now, of
mech
course,
jeb in the corner.
would never actually work in reality, but this is Kerbal's space
Camera
program.
tools.
So I used a small amount of my fuel, expanded my elliptical orbit, intersected Minmus, and now I'm putting myself into a circular orbit. This whole thing is being played at about 4 times regular speed.
I was going to say, the thing I like about this is it's just like speeding through the stuff.
It would be like an hour long of me sitting around pushing buttons very slowly.
Yeah, no one would ever watch
to
that.
speed things up. Now, Minmus looks very interesting. It's this kind of weird blue color, and it has these flat areas that people like to think of as frozen lake beds.
Sure.
I don't think that's possible because if they were ice, it would be evaporating into space all the time. So it's highly unlikely.
So what is it then?
However,
Cheese.
I do think, or I did make
Liquid
the
cheese.
postulate that it was salt. The color of Minmus came from salt deposits that were laid down by sublimating ice.
There you go, Alex. Answer your
Turns
question.
out that's one of the best theories to explain the bright spots and craters on the asteroid series. If you've been paying attention to that, yes, they think they might actually.
I had
be
not.
Epsom salts sitting out there in the base of craters.
It's mech jeb.
Water liquids.
The,
below the
mod
surface
is
and
mech jeb.
evaporate,
Is the
leaving
one
something
that
behind.
puts up all
There
the
is, of course, another
altitude and surface and stuff like
think
that?
so.
Okay.
theory that
So I know a lot of people use mech jeb
Minmus
Yeah,
for
mech
actually
jeb's engineer
made
panel.
Some
Okay.
sort of delicious Kerbal pudding. I'm not really sure about that. I mean,
Well, it's all sped up,
it's
the video, don't
scientifically
forget.
impossible,
Yeah, but also,
yet
look what he just did.
many of the arguments made by the supporters of flat.
Good.
Getting down's always
Anyway,
tough.
yes, we get out on the surface, we plant our flag. Dude Free Kerman says we're here, and we got to pose for a photo, which means getting everybody out.
Oh boy.
The
Right,
Moon
he brought
and
'em.
Kerbin are sitting in a nice.
Yeah, don't send them
place
flying
in the
around
sea. You can see them both.
the moon if at all possible.
Oh yes, and he comes
seen how
down,
that goes.
lands perfectly there, and they're just standing around talking to
Nice.
each other, saying, "Look, look, cheese, cheese, look, yay!" And there's the moon, Kerbin, the stars, and our spacecraft. Now that was easy. Now this thing had just over 2,200 meters per second of delta V plus our reaction control system fuel, monopropellant. I've did a bit of calculations, and I think if I don't do things too terribly, I should also be able to land on the moon. This is going to be
What?
slightly harder because, as you noticed,
No
landing on that
way.
engine bell required a very, very flat surface.
He just lined it up
But
by waiting.
I think we can manage it. So let's head off towards our mooner.
Get out of here.
If it turns out that we can't actually do it, I may have to send another rescue mission. But who am I kidding? This is all at 4 times regular speed. I know whether I succeeded or failed by this point, and well, it's time to
Get
place
meta
your bets,
on us,
but don't
Manley.
Bet against me. I'm not telling you what my bet is. So yeah, we escape, and now we're gonna put ourselves on an encounter with the moon. That will take a little bit of effort, but we'll just get it down there. So I decide to perform the burn basically at the descending node there, so that we're going to end up lined up very nicely with the moon's orbit. There we go, firing those main engines and then getting ourselves coplanar with the moon, which means much more chance of encountering the moon. After one orbit, we get a pretty close encounter, so I make some adjustments, and you see
That's
immediately there's
awesome.
this nice little gravity assist thing going on. That's actually not a good thing for us. We're just going to fly past the moon very closely and then put ourselves into orbit. Once we're in orbit, that's when we will make the go, no-go attempt. So the go, no-go calls. You might hear this during launch.
So wait, that was two consecutive. That looked like two consecutive
Launch controller
maneuvers.
going around and
I think it
was
was.
it?
one of the
Okay.
consoles. Or we go for launch, and everyone will be go, go.
Unless I'm wrong.
Ecom, go. Capcom, go. Electrics, go. That's pretty awesome. Japanese board game, go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. So here we are. Watch the moon come down. This is actually a pretty cool viewpoint. This
He's
because
bringing the moon
comes and
to
sits
him.
underneath me, and then I
Yeah.
catch up on the moon from behind.
Oh, it's
pretty
gonna
cool.
pass him.
Like, there we go. The moon is getting closer and closer. It's actually a rather
that's really
sedate
cool.
approach to the moon if you think about it, compared to some of the usual approaches we get. Look how tight that orbit is there. So we calculate our capture.
Very
And,
erotic.
Yeah, it's actually looking pretty good from a delta V standpoint. Now, normally you need 550 to get down and 550.
Yeah, but I bet he's not
to
going
get
to land
back
on the
into
edge of a
orbit.
cliff.
And remember, I also have this supply of monopropellant. We can use the monopropellant to maneuver the spacecraft. It's just not powerful enough to move us against the moon's gravity. I'll
usually
also
use
say
that
if
as
you're
part of his
trying
kit.
to do a mission where you go to Minmus and the moon, or if you want to go to both targets, then you want to go to Minmus first, almost always, for the simple reason that it has a much lower gravity, and when you're landing, your gravity losses are going to be proportional to gravity. So you want to do it when your spacecraft has a higher thrust-to-weight ratio, so your gravity losses are
Yeah, you know what? We don't do things the easy way around here.
Getting ready to perform our burn here. We've adjusted the camera and burned. There we go. Nice circular orbit. And now we just need to pick a suitable place to put this thing down. Somewhere that's flat.
He's gonna have like
may
no
not
delta
work
V
too
left by
well.
the time he gets up though.
This
We'll
thing is
see.
almost certainly going to fall over unless...
It's a good looking moon, by the way.
Well,
Yeah.
unless I have a cunning plan, and of course I have a cunning plan. I am full of cunning plans when it comes to being cunning in Kerbal Space Program. Of course, in Kerbal Space Program, when you say cunning plan, you are in fact spelling it with a K. Although there are some
Mortal Kombat
detractors who
rules.
think
Right.
that replacing the letter C with K in Kerbal is wrong somehow. I think those people are crazy with a capital K. But anyway, we are descending towards the surface here, being careful to try and judge everything just right. You want to really do this in a single suicide burn if you want to do it perfectly, but I ended up burning too soon. I was just kind of feel my way through this. I wasn't relying on anything other than the numbers that were being reported by Mechanical Jeb. I wasn't letting it fly it for me. I did allow the ASAS system to stabilize me. Anyway, we're on a little bit of a slope. So what we're going to do...
There's no landing gear at
very
all.
carefully.
An RCS.
Then we're going to use the reaction control
Nice.
thrusters to hold us straight. Meanwhile, the chosen one, Dude Frey Kerman.
That's
Still
funny.
gonna have a.
He is the one
Like
who's
getting
been
back.
tasked with
He's
planting
down to
a
like
flag-
500.
Planting a flag, sorry. Obviously, if we run out of fuel too quickly, he'll be left behind, but I'm sure we'll be able to do this. Quick. Quick, get back in the
Right, 'cause he's burning
spacecraft.
RCS.
We're gonna have to leave. I don't want to leave you behind. Because I don't want to send another rescue mission, do you? There we go. Flying up. And get inside. Quickly. Every second is fuel being burned. And we don't want to lose... Oh, crap. We're falling back onto the moon. No! We don't want to have to leave.
Scott.
I don't know how big a margin I actually have on this. So you see that I did set it up correctly when I designed this spacecraft. I had two decouplers so that I could ditch the main engine and use that final reaction control system based stage to get myself back. Anyway, back to 4 times
You don't have any fuel left.
Heading off.
Or
across
does
the
he?
surface, and
Yeah.
Initially, I began to.
Does he have, like,
fly
secret fuel?
too quickly, and then I looked at my delta V and realized that I was going to be about 100 meters per second shy. So that meant that I had to make up 100 meters per second of my speed using RCS thrusters, which are not particularly powerful. So there was a very real possibility that if I'd gone too flat, that I would ended up falling back towards the moon and being unable to get into orbit in time and therefore ruining everybody's day. This is all in one take, incidentally. I might upload the unedited version for you just to appreciate, but I wasn't recording any voiceovers at the time. So there we go. Get myself my escape vector set up.
He's gonna do it all with
We're
RCS.
gonna
Yes.
estimate this thing here. So when I started firing my engines, I got a little concerned because it started firing all of the reaction control system thrusters. So I turned off stability control and decided to manually steer the thing to minimize my steering losses.
Holy hell.
And, well, as it turns out, that was pretty important. This bit took a really long time, and this is played back at like 12 times regular speed. Aren't you glad that you don't have to sit through this? And the whole thing took me about an hour of gameplay. So you can still see that.
Oh wow!
There, but my
Look at his.
navigation
Is almost
marker,
out of mono.
I just got rid of it because the maneuver node was not quite accurate.
Wow!
Not only do we escape the moon, but we get our periaps.
That was
right
tight.
Down to, well, just inside.
He just flung his damn ass at the planet.
To 46 kilometers initially. The reason is
he has?
I didn't put a heat shield on this thing, so I have to be very careful in the re-entry, and this means I'm going to make multiple passes over the planet.
Oh, he's using the Walker maneuver.
Even Walker maneuver.
Okay.
Oh.
There goes there goes my solar panel.
Oh my god. And it's
I'm
taking
doomed at
heat.
this point to follow whatever course physics will provide me with.
Right, he has no
Because
electric charge.
I don't have
he's going
any
back
power
up.
to control the steering. I don't have any
Oh.
reaction control system thrusters. I am but a ballistic object flying around, slowing down a little at a time. I'm going in.
Oh my
deep
god.
His periapsis is 43. I remember we came in around
You need
36
to,
or
we
something.
realize you have to
This
be
is-
under
this would
40,
be
near
really
30
bad
something to be able to do it in a single pass.
You know, they had real concerns that if they did not go deep enough into the atmosphere, they would skip off into space. And while that meant that they would eventually fall back to Earth, unfortunately by the time they got
And this is it, the next one. Definitely the next one.
Definitely the next one.
But this is Kerbal Space Program, and I don't have any life support mods installed, so I can just sit here and watch this bleed off speed over successive approaches to the atmosphere. We're getting down to about 42 kilometers, and then we skip back up. It's looking rather beautiful.
He doesn't have a heat shield on.
No.
Every
how
time
is-
we pass over, we
How is
This is what we did.
Actually, we're gonna
Yeah,
get
we had a
the
heat shield.
Yeah.
actual descent trajectory, and hopefully it won't be so steep that I end up losing the spacecraft because of thermal limits or whatever.
Blowing up.
or whatever?
Thermal limits is how you report that to the family. There's some issues with thermal limits.
Space capsule.
What does that mean? It blew up.
They have an offset safe
melted.
mass.
Your son is dead.
The whole thing.
A
I have
pool
no
of
power,
liquid flesh.
so therefore I have no control. So I just have to let this thing happen.
Holy cow.
God, this is so familiar. This is so.
I remember this.
But we like
A re-entry
suffered through
to
each
the
pass as if it could be the one instead of doing the smart
G-forces
thing
are
of
something
fast
like
forwarding.
5
That
Gs.
segment is maybe my
That
most vivid
fails,
memory of the
doesn't
entire
result in
season.
re-entry in the-
Well, he's fast forwarding, but also fast forwarding the video.
He does have
Of course,
radiators.
that's not as bad as
help with the
launch
heating.
escape
Oh,
system.
okay. So he has some kind of coolant going
Yeah.
on.
13 Gs. And the one time that was actually fired, the crew was on board, made a point of turning off the cockpit voice recorder as soon as they got control back, because they did not want to be caught saying some of the things they did. Anyway, look, we're coming down over the Badlands. The Badlands are an often forgotten region of Kerbin on almost the opposite side of the
Close to the
planet from
mountains.
the Kerbal Space Center.
Because he had no control where he was
Parachute
going to
is
land.
deployed
Our people in our chat are
safely.
correcting
Going
Scott
home.
on
We are
the
gonna
fact
survive.
that
I
his
see
radiators
the
needed
shadow
power. He's
there,
out of
and like a
power, so
groundhog,
radiators
I know
are
that
not
means that I
helping.
won't have to experience another 4 weeks in space.
Oh, he was speeding up, remember?
Yeah.
So there we are. Not only could I have
Oh, man.
safely, but I also could have visited
Unbelievable.
the moon and Minmus. That 2
Well
kilometers
done.
per second of
Yeah,
Delta
well
V was
done.
also sufficient to head to another planet and possibly come back. You could probably land on Gilly and then return. Gilly is a moon of Eve. Yes, Dudfrey is extremely proud of what he has achieved. And I am Scott Manley.
Congrats to Scott.
Yes.
God
Thank
damn.
you so much.
Thanks, Scott, again. Let's mute that. Whew. That was awesome.
You righteous space bastard, you.
What a season.
What a season, what a season. So, thanks again to Scott. Scott, if you're still in the chat, thank you so much for your
you.
time
Yep.
and helping us out. And
Glad we
thanks for-
finally got to watch that.
Man, that was great. I might watch it again. We can take a couple of questions if people have them for us. And if Scott's in the chat, Scott, if you're still there and willing to answer any questions too, send them to @Austin.
At Austin_Walker.
All right. And we'll talk a little bit about stuff while we're here, and then we'll wrap it up. Because we're going to take a break from Project B.E.A.S.T for a bit.
Yeah, season 1.
That was
complete.
season 1.
Yeah.
Season 2 plans?
No season
None
2
yet.
plans.
No.
Other than we would like to
Yeah,
revisit.
we'll definitely revisit. It's definitely on my long-term plan for sure.
So yeah, let us know. It was super fun. I had a really good time with that stuff. Obviously, some of the most difficult stuff was not being able to autosave to correct stuff that we knew was wrong, and then be like, oh, well, if we had just burned earlier or burned a little later, or we missed an intercept, to just reload that save and do it again, or like, oh, I guess coming down that quickly is not good.
Someone wants to know if you've ever built a space station in Kerbal before.
I haven't. I might do it on my own time. I'm really looking forward to playing some Kerbal off camera.
Right.
I bet.
And just playing
With saves?
some
Some
goal-free sort of Kerbal.
To kind of muck around, try a lot of the stuff we didn't get a chance to try, a lot of the pieces and stuff we didn't get a chance to try, and do some docking. Like we basically docked. We know how to do it.
Worst mistake we would go back and fix now, knowing what we know now.
Two things I think would be the RCS thrusters on the tips,
Sure.
the front and back of the ship, and stabilizer in the middle. So that kind of control stuff. That wobble on that ship. So I would strut that thing if I could.
It's weird because it seems the struts on that thing feel like a lazy, not a lazy, but like a goofy mistake we made. And that when we built that thing, I don't think we were really ready to commit. Like, oh, this is the one we're going to do it.
Yeah,
and then we kind of like bullheadedly said, like, no, we're going to do it with this. We
Yeah.
could totally do it with this.
It didn't snap off yet.
Like, that wasn't a lack of information. That was like just us being goofballs.
I do remember one of us saying maybe this is not the ship, but
maybe,
you know,
that might have
just
been a
throwing
thing.
that out there.
People, your thoughts on more editing in season 2?
The whole plan was to keep these under an hour initially. There was such pushback, and I kind of understood initially why people wouldn't want to see the edited stuff, but I kind of knew going in this was going to be an edited program. Like,
Yeah.
I knew from playing Kerbal that there's a lot of downtime, and I tried to split that difference when we were building the ship the first time. But there was a lot of feedback, and I took it to heart of, you guys just want to see this. It's kind of what Giant Bomb does, so I let it ride for most of it. I'd probably just play it by ear again. In the last episode, when we had to orbit a couple of times to match our speeds with Kerbin, I took out that big chunk because that's just not fun.
And let's just be clear, when we did edit, it was not stuff that was like material
it
really
was
that
always
we cut out.
downtime.
It was just downtime.
There's lots of downtime, as Scott just said in his video, there's a ton of downtime in the game.
Yeah, and I think people who aren't familiar with Kerbin might not know that. So next time, I don't know. I would like if there were no downtime when it's all just go, 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 but that's not really the way Kerbal Space Program.
No,
Have
it's not the way
either-
space works.
Have either of you gone back to the early videos to see, like, boy, we did not know anything here?
I kind of remember them a lot. Like, we only had, we filmed, 15 or 16 episodes.
Something like that.
So there aren't that many. I kind of remember
I think
most of them.
15 is what we ended up with.
And like we learned over the course of it, and so if I were to go back and redo it, we would hopefully not make the exact same mistakes. The biggest things that I took away from it were that flight engineer mod was awesome. Space engineer, flight engineer. That figuring out what Delta V was huge.
And
for
learning
us.
how to manage that.
Learning that the maneuver was telling you how much Delta V was left, and then being able to see available Delta V in your tanks was a huge thing for us that we didn't have in the beginning. The ship design stuff, I said before with the RCS and everything else, I probably would have still stuck with the asparagus staging and all of that.
Yeah, instead of ditching it.
Yeah, I probably would have kept it.
A lot of people saying, like, would you guys play some other really complex games for a feature like this, like Crusader Kings 2 or like Dwarf Fortress? I think a lot for me, I love those games, but a lot of that is like, that's a really hard thing to do on a TV across the thing. We have some like vague plans about addressing that in the future, and if that's the case, then definitely swing back around to those games and some other.
But those are
things.
separate series. This is Project Beast, and Project Beast is going to goddamn space.
The thing about this series that I always wanted to do and make sure we did was have a mission.
Yeah.
That wasn't just like
we're gonna play
the game. It was a mission, and I knew within that mission, in my mind, they would construct a narrative. Right?
Yes.
Like there would be these people are stranded. We need to save them,
regardless of whether or not that's going to happen.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's going to be one person gets stranded or 10, but we're going to strand some people probably.
The Ballad of Bullet Bill might be my favorite story constructed out of all of that.
Here's my biggest regret as from a production angle or like a storytelling angle is I wish we had left someone on I wish when you shot Bill across the fucking moon, Vinny, and you crashed him, I was upset because you killed a Kerbin who didn't even die, but I was also upset because that would have been a fun challenge.
To get a guy off of the moon?
How the fuck do we find him on the moon? Like, how do we land close enough to him on the moon to rescue him?
I wonder if that would have been easier or not.
I don't know, but that was like one of the things I wanted. I was like, oh man, that's going to be a fun thing to do.
I wonder with your jetpack, I mean, we saw it there, if you have about 500 Delta V, right?
Yeah.
Or was it 500 Delta V, or you can get up to 500 meters? I guess that's the same, right? Going from 0 to 500, it's the same thing in change of velocity. If you can escape the moon and get into orbit. So I wonder if you could just pop them off, do an approach on the moon, and collide.
Anything else? Vinny, when are you building your Vinny Kerbal Empire?
I want to check out and see if there are some mods. I'm very curious to see what that Unity update brings in terms of performance, and that would be awesome. But there are a ton of mods for this game. Like I might try and download some kind of ballistics mod for missiles and stuff like that to try and shoot that stuff out of the sky.
Would you ever try career mode?
I did try career mode.
You've done that off
on my own. I did, and that stuff's cool. I might try to start it from scratch again. Knowing what I know now and see how quickly I can get through it. That's a lot of gaining science and doing experiments in different places, and they limit the parts that you get each time.
Awesome. A lot of people are just like, what's next? But we just don't. It's not. hammered out in that way.
Man,
quite yet,
what's
you
next
know?
is PAX East. We got E3 coming up. There's a bunch of things coming up in the next couple months. So
It's definitely one of those things of like, a thing I liked about doing this video series was it was a thing that we did every week that wasn't going up immediately, that like, you know, we were slowly making progress on something over a long period of time, but it was also not just, and I mean, we could be slow about it in a weird way that we can't be. Like, we did a Hyperlight Drifter quick look yesterday, and we came to a boss at the end, and I lost at the boss. Spoilers for that quick look. And then I beat the boss off, like, immediately off camera,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, like, damn, if this was a series, we could have come back to this, and I
you
could have
just
beat
would've
that
bought.
boss.
Well,
that would have been cool.
Hopefully, if
you know,
he came
that-
in a month later and we're
Totally.
like, jeez, I forgot
That's
how to
true.
play.
That's totally true. But I like that part of this, of it being kind of like, we get to return to this and slowly
problems.
solve
Yeah.
problems. That's one of my
and we
favorite
don't have to
things.
solve it in the span of a quick look.
Exactly.
But it's also a very unnatural way for any of us to play those games, which is like, stop playing.
Yep.
Now stop playing. I know you're just about to crack this thing.
Yes.
But stop playing.
Let's
now
walk away
wait,
from it.
wait a week or so, do a ton of stuff in between, and then boot it up cold and try and remember everything you did.
The moments of like, oh, we are rendezvousing with the first person to pick up, and then you were like, you said like we should stop recording here. I was
stop.
dying. I'm like, oh, we'll just get him and go home. We're so close.
And like that's what
But-
any of us would do at home.
Totally.
You probably
Right.
autosave it and then go
And,
do
and
it.
as Alex just mentioned, like the reality of it is like, oh, we have PAX coming up. We have a ton of meetings. We have
Yeah.
I have a ton of work to do with the guest stuff. You guys have a ton of stuff to do for your own stuff. Like, if we could just sit here and play games all day, that'd be really great.
Right, and I just mean in particular, like playing stuff staggered like that can be
Yeah.
very frustrating, especially if it's something you really enjoy playing. Like I really enjoyed playing Kerbal, and I was like, I can't just go play this. I can't go solve this problem necessarily on my own and just come back and be like, I did it, you know, like, and we're done. So that was kind of tough, but I had a lot of fun just doing this, and the mix. I think we hit a good balance. I'm pretty happy with the mix of external knowledge versus discovery of people giving us great comments and tips versus us finding out a lot of stuff. Because you can just watch like Scott do it and be like, oh, sure,
Right.
that's how you do it. But I enjoyed the discovery process a lot.
Yeah.
Last thing from each of us, I think high point and low point.
The high point for me was probably the first when we got to the moon and back, like that landing from the
that
moon.
I
first
would claim
landing.
that one as
That
well.
was a very
Like,
long mission.
It was, and we heard from people in the office that they heard us screaming when we succeeded. That was for me probably the high point.
Like,
I think the most cathartic moment was the final rescue, but that first, like the one where the first successful moon landing and return was like the most thrilling.
That was in a way like the most precarious the series ever felt to me, where it was like, oh, like maybe we can't do this. Like this is getting not just again from us as players' perspective, but as like a team that wants to put out cool content for people to watch. Like, fuck, like if we don't get it, this is gonna suck. Like we're gonna have to put this video of us failing again.
And so that's probably the lowest point is when we had the just two failed attempts, the Ritalin and the
That warp that just
the
crashed.
warp that crashed, and then what was it when we didn't turn off the engine when we decoupled? Like that was
that
yes.
moment
Yeah.
of just like, oh fuck, the engine's still on and it's pushing against us. This is
Yeah.
all about to go up in
And we
flames.
exploded.
And we exploded.
And I mean that basically was like that to me was really heartbreaking because we had solved so many problems by that point, and that we hadn't even really. We just thought it would just be like, go
just
home,
go home.
go home.
It indicated how little we knew. That like we hadn't
Yeah.
even considered that re-entry would be a problem.
I'd just like to reiterate, Bullet Bill didn't have to die.
It's true.
That was
He didn't have to die.
secret best moment
Yeah.
of Bullet Bill forever remembered.
Damn it, Vinny.
So yeah, the landing though, because that was such a long. That was from takeoff to coming back to Kerbin in one shot of like no saves, no nothing.
Right.
Like we didn't stagger it, and it's like kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
Like and everything has to go right in that sequence.
And you're on, right? Like
And you're
we're
kinda
talking
on,
about
right.
it and like getting ourselves stressed about it because we're talking to each other about it. Oh,
Right.
man.
And we just had hit so many weird like, oh, you were tilted a couple of degrees off,
Yep.
you exploded.
Yep.
Like we weren't confident.
Well,
that
and
way.
you know, someone mentioned that Kerbal can be inscrutable sometimes, and that's the thing. The other thing is like, you know, obviously for me, another high point was always just Alex saying like, all right, what did we learn? Because
Yes.
a big part of progress in this game is figuring out what it is that we did wrong. Like, because it doesn't just say, oh, you died because you were pointed a little bit in the wrong direction. It's like, okay, we saw what happened. sometimes we would go into the control room after we were done and like look at the video,
Right.
as if we were like coaches. Like
what
all right,
happened?
What happened here? What did go wrong?
We definitely looked at that for the encounter,
Christ, yeah.
the rendezvous, and that's a great moment too.
That's a high for me.
I mean,
honestly.
I'll put that off to the side just because it's a great moment of our ignorance, right?
Yes.
Of just like getting excited and then like, oh my God, right, of course.
Yeah.
Like we didn't take us that long to be like, yes, of course. No, of course these things are perperpendicular, and that's just
That was the funniest moment.
Yeah.
That to me
By
was the
far,
absolute
for me too.
comedy moment of the whole thing.
But yeah, it was a lot of high points and stuff. I would probably want to just take all that footage and do like a super cut of
That'd be
that
amazing.
entire thing
Yeah.
if I had the time. Like doing those intros and outros were also a lot of fun for me.
This most recent one, I have no shame in admitting I watched that like a dozen times.
That was a lot of fun.
That's really
So
good.
that's me building that narrative, right? Like when I'm playing this game, it's like this is what would the movie of this be, right? And like those intros and outros are basically in my head what the movie version of this would be. Cut out all the fluff. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for now. We'll be back when we have a better mission to do or another
figure
good
something
or
objective.
a mission.
Or definitely past the update, so it's going to be further on down the road. We'll figure out another video series to do, but who knows what that'll be. We'll probably be back this Friday because
Yes.
we do have a vampire to kill.
Yeah, we're right there.
We're going to wrap all this stuff up.
I mean, we still have to kill that vampire at least 7 or 8 more times. So
Oh, gosh.
Let's do it.
Speaking of impossible tasks. Thanks, Austin. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for everybody viewing at home. Thanks again. A big thanks to
Scott
Scott
Manley.
Manley.
What a guy.
And to Drew and
And
Josh.
Drew and Josh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you haven't heard of Scott Manley's stuff, you should definitely go check it out.
What's
if you're
the
interested
YouTube
in
channel again
Kerbal.
for Scott
I
Manley?
believe it's just Scott Manley.
Nice.
I believe if you
Worked that brand.
if you're on the site, you know how to use a search engine. Look for Scott
Don't
Manley's
assume.
videos on Kerbal. I will assume that because you did not find this.
It is actually youtube.com. I'm going to read it because it's not just Scott Manley. It is SZYZYG.
it's my favorite Rush song.
Yep.
That's how you spell Scott Manley and Kerbal.
Oh, okay.
Thanks everybody again, and we'll be back. We'll be back live Friday.
Sounds good.
See ya.